Okay, this is it. Hello, welcome to the podcast interview. Well, at the moment, I've not seen Danette and Anthony in the green room as of yet. Everything link sent, so waiting for them to show up. And once they're in, we are bang on into the interview or the live stream podcast. We will be full on once they're in. I've got questions ready, everything. Okay. Right, who's here? Teacher's in, HC teacher, hello to you, my lady. And Harriet's in, hello. Hello. And you too, Danette and Anthony, hello. I'm pretty sure you got the link, the green room link that I sent you. And, okay, they are here, and good evening, you two.
We are here. Let's see if I can get the net more in there.
You're here. Hello to you both.
The shoulder at the end.
I'm here.
How is everyone?
That's good.
Good evening, Danette and Anthony. Good evening to you both.
Hi.
Thank you.
It's all well.
Oh.
Are we in the show now?
Are we in the show?
Yes, you are. Yes, it's all okay.
Are we?
Yes.
I can see you.
How are you?
Yeah, we've never done this before. We've never done a StreamYard. Used the StreamYards before. Like I see you. I can't see, as a visitor. I can't see the chat, but Danette's going to put it on her phone.
I'm putting it on my phone now.
She's going to put it on her phone. So great to see you, Foxy. How you doing?
Very well.
Thank you for having us.
Good to see you. Well, you two are podcast worthy, so it's pleasure's all mine. Certainly all mine. And obviously, we've been talking about it for almost a year.
Sorry if we interrupted. There seems to be a delay.
Well, and like I said, we've been talking about it for almost a year now.
Yes, we have.
Look where we are now. We are here. So I've got quite a good few questions for you both in this podcast interview. It's sort of like nearly a life story sort of thing, the podcasts that I do and represent of either YouTubers or anyone in particular I'm interviewing. So with you two now, getting to the first question, how would you two describe your early lives when growing up, the early lives of Danette and Anthony from birth to childhood up to youth?
Oh my God!
You want to go first?
No, you go first.
My early life, pretty much, it started out. My early life, my mother was basically a single mother. I lived in Manhattan as a very young child, and we lived in what was essential. We lived in a brownstone. We lived in a neighborhood in Harlem. That was the neighborhood. And as a kid, it was just a basic kid oddballs, but that was the neighborhood we lived in. And, eventually at a certain point, we moved. Sidebar, strangely, though I never met her, she lived not. I never laid eyes on her until we were much older.
When you moved to the Bronx.
When I moved to a few blocks away, and I never knew that. And a few blocks away, went to school. I lived for a long time in the Pelham Bay, Throgs Neck region. It's an area. It's a neighborhood in the Bronx, actually very close to a high school, to the high school there, which was like basically you could walk to the high school if you were you walked past it to. Upbringing, I didn't have any. There was nothing nothing particular to say about it. The next thing that really happened was my mother remarried, but that was not a good marriage, and eventually that ended. That was not a good marriage, but that happened around the time just before I was a teenager. Around that time, and eventually at a certain point, I was working at my early life came to an end when I was working in the supermarket. I got a job in a supermarket, and I ran into this girl who apparently only lived a few blocks away from me, but I'd never laid eyes on her. Well, what was your early days like then?
Oh, that's it?
I'm not going to go any further. That was my childhood, early life. And then I met her, and then the whole rest of my life began. I always say it that way. The whole rest of my life began when I met Danette. Like, she made a big difference in my life. It was like, first of all, it was a girlfriend, which in itself was a big deal. And I did a lot of things that I hadn't done before because I met her, because her family was a different kind of family. They became sort of Danette's mom and dad became sort of like my second parents. Like her mother was my second mother. Danette's father was very much like a father figure, although we butted heads many times. I'm not going to say we didn't fight. We fought like cats and dogs sometimes, but there was always respect. And the thing that I did is what I do with everybody. I made the man laugh, and that's what made all the difference. Danette, why don't you step in? You have to do some of this.
I think he's getting stage fright.
That never happens to me. The stage fright, I don't get that.
Oh no, there's no stage fright at all. I've not
Just
seen
because you get
it.
closer doesn't mean you don't have. So before I answer, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. And HC teaches our moderator. She's an amazing moderator. She's in your chat right now. And yeah, she's really good. I'm watching it. And you have
a nice lady.
Such lovely people in your chat. So I wanted to say hello to you guys. We're in New York City. We're in Queens right now. And so let's start with me, right? Is that what you said?
Let's start with you. Where did you begin?
So where should I start?
Well, what was your childhood like?
My childhood was amazing. I loved it. We didn't have a lot of money, and there was some times when it was really bad that way, but it didn't matter because we had a great, great childhood. I'm saying we because I have two brothers, John and James. Those are my brothers. We're all a year apart from each other. And so we pretty much grew up like the same age in the Bronx, in Throgs Neck, near the Throgs Neck Bridge. And went to school there, did everything there. Eventually got a job in the A&P where I met Anthony. And it's just so nice I said that. What else happened? We lived in an apartment when I was really young, and then my parents bought a house. They wanted to get a house that had like the biggest yard for the three of us, and that's what they did. They got a house that had the biggest yard on the block, and we had 2 dogs, and we had 3 cats at one point. We had kittens. I had a German Shepherd, and growing up, and a West Highland. And the German Shepherd would run in that yard over and over again until there was like, the path where you could see where she would run. And it was just great. We had the best Christmases. My father and my mother loved to jump in the car and go out. Don't stay at home. Go out.
That's
go
true.
Here. Go there. Adventure out with the car. Not taking planes and stuff because we didn't have the money for that. But to get in the car and just adventure out and go see whatever we could see. And that's where we get it from now. And you remember that all of us would get in the car and venture out.
I often say that I kind of inherited through some form of osmosis, some of Danette's family's DNA. And when I met her, suddenly it was like I became like almost like a wanderer, just like they were. I was like, I latched onto that. I think it was probably already in me, but I never had the wherewithal. My mother and I, we never had car. So we always did everything via like buses and trains. And Danette's family were always in cars, and I latched on to much. Remember, we dating. We got in cars. Are we back?
Can you hear us?
Are we back in town?
Foxy, can you hear us?
I can, yes. It was just a momentary.
I see So I know you're all right.
I'm just-
Let's see.
I'm fine.
We got a little froze, I think.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens.
well, I just
Wonder if hopefully it's not on our end.
Oh.
It's okay now. Okay now. Barely there. There was the gray Zephyr, a Ford Zephyr, which had no air conditioning, no heat,
Oh,
no
wow.
actual radio.
Oh, my goodness.
We had to put the portable radio with the set player in the back seat,
But we
so
could
it
get
sounded
wherever
like
we
we had
wanted.
stereophonic sound, but that still took us everywhere. We said, we often tell this story. We tell the story about one of our early dates together, which she took me for a drive. And I got in the car, and it was like funny. It was like she said, well, just settle in because this is going to be a really long drive. And it was like, it seemed like a really long drive. Later on, it became a place we went to all the time, just as a drop of a hat. But it was
Grumpy
the first
saying
time she
maybe
ever
we
drove
should log
anywhere.
off and relog back in.
Do you want to log off and log back
I
in?
don't know. Let me see if I could hear us.
What's
No, I could
what's
hear.
the internet connection like? It seems better now.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So the first time we went there, so I often say,
Yeah, what are you headed
just
there
strap
for?
in. It was
Nick
like
Meow wants to know why were we headed? Where were we headed?
we were going to a
No, it's-
place called
She
called
was
the
asking.
Galleria. It was a shopping mall. It was
Oh,
a
Galleria
shopping mall.
shopping mall.
The Galleria shopping mall. It was in White Plains, New York. And it was
Okay.
essentially a 40-minute drive away from where we lived. But to us, who had never gone anywhere by ourselves in a car, because that was Danette's first car. It was the first time she's driving herself somewhere. To her, it seemed like this long drive. Eventually, we became used to like 5 and 6 hour drives over the years. But that very first time, she said, well, you'll have to buckle up because it's going to be a long trip. And that was our first long trip together, I think.
And
Wow.
so we met in the A&P, Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, a supermarket.
You said, yeah. As you said,
And,
yes.
Yeah, and then we started dating, and
Wow.
our friends in the store also started dating each other. There's at least 8 couples that got married, and they're still married.
Are they? Most of them that I know of.
Yeah, it was
Ones
so
that know
weird,
that.
you know.
And is it true that you started dating, 40 years ago now, was it? Because you spoke about it on a live stream.
1986, right? Was when we started dating?
1986 was when we started dating.
Wow.
It was 1986. But I met her in 1985.
Yes, I think that's what I remember. You met 40 years ago. Wow.
I'm hearing
I'm hearing a reverb on your side, like a shadow. I hear us and yourself talking.
Oh, that was just an echo. That's all. But I think it's all right. Nothing's. It's okay. These things happen, no trouble. But very interesting. You met in 1985, you dated in 1986, and many of your colleagues in the supermarkets became couples and got married and still married to this day. So it's a nice way how you started off with dating and how you met. It's a nice starting point to the relationship, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, what's wrong, you two? Is anything all right?
We're hearing you like
We're hearing
repeating.
the previous words. Maybe it's here. Oh, I know what it is. Wait.
Okay.
Let me pop off.
There you go. Now you can see the chat.
I'm back now.
Sorry, Foxy. Sorry.
So that was my fault.
Oh, no trouble. No trouble.
That was
It's
my
easy
fault.
mistake to make. But very interesting.
I rectified it.
Hi, Harriet. I feel like I know Harriet because when you talk to her. Hi,
Yeah.
Harriet.
No, but But very, very nice way how you started off with dating and met. You met where you worked in the supermarket. Many of your friends became couples. It's a nice story, very good story. And so do explain what was the marriage like? Because we've gotten through the childhood and into the youth and, the high school and things. So now do speak what it was like getting married. Do speak what it was like getting married.
All right, I'll go there. You want me to go?
First
with the getting married
wedding.
first?
Yeah.
First was the wedding, which was quite in itself. Getting to the wedding took enough time because, well, like as Danette said, we did not have much money. We've never been great managers of cash.
No,
We didn't have money. There was no way that we were going to have the proper. Actually happened. This is actual footage.
Yes, we're from New York
of
City.
what we did. Actual footage of what we did here by me telling you is we had been saying so when are we going to get? Now we had a set date. In order to set a date, we started to go around to some places where we would have a wedding reception because you had to have a wedding reception in those days. So we went to a few places and we got prices and we realized any money to pay for any of this. So we said, let's put this off for a while. Let's put this off. So some years went by of more dating. And then we went back to going to have and we handed them the old piece of paper that they'd written down the price.
Like a contract.
Several years had gone by. So now that price seemed cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
And they said, we'll still go by that price.
They
and we're
honored the old price.
Bingo. The old price, which they did not, they were not thrilled. We said, eventually. So we got that all set up. Come on. They could have said no, but we talked them into it.
It didn't matter because it took us years and years to pay all of that.
To pay all, even the cheaper price.
Maybe half of our marriage.
Not that much.
All right, at least the quarter.
It took like 5 or 6 years to pay for a wedding.
More than that, maybe 7.
Wow.
For the whole thing, to pay for the wedding and everything that went with it. Because back then, you had to have a wedding.
I know.
You had to invite everyone. It was like, I come from an Italian family in the background, and you had to invite everyone. It didn't matter if you didn't have money. You had to invite everyone. You had to make sure you had liquor at that party. You had to make sure that everything was just right.
I had to do it the right way.
We had 16 people in the wedding party. It was ridiculous. Big Italian wedding. And we put everything on the credit cards. And our parents gave us a couple of thousand to help us out. But that was like nothing compared to what we paid, right?
Yes.
And
one of the wackiest things was we had a disc jockey. But we had totally forgotten this. We had totally forgotten. I know he told us this, but I know we both your wedding. We will have to get paid in cash for our performance.
Exactly, Pamela.
And when that news came to us as we were in my tuxedo and our wedding dress, our reaction was like this. Huh? What? What money? Because I had like $5 in my pocket.
Yeah, I would have been prepared, but I wasn't prepared.
We had to do the old break out the envelopes.
We had to open the envelopes to pay the
cash.
To pay this guy. Yeah, that's how bad it was.
Pay the dude. It was like, holy smoke! Do we have enough? Here it is. Here you go, sir. I had it in my pocket all the time.
No, remember we had to go that private room.
I had to go, the
people wondering room. Where's the bride and groom. We like ran into a room and started opening the envelopes to pay the guy. We didn't have any money with us.
Wow.
They wanted cash, But it was like, and the stories of our wedding, we don't have enough time. I mean,
We don't have
we
enough
should do a
time.
series of that,
Just one-
like the limo and
Her
all
dad, Mr. Tact. We were having our last night of the evening, and her father, Mr. Tact, came walking up to us like this.
that.
The man wants his money. Where's the money? I was like, thanks, Dad.
I forgot about that. And remember
Remember
my
the
mother
man wants
said,
his money.
later on, we had a video of her, so we had the video. And later on, I was so upset with him. And later on, my mother goes, "What happened over there? Why did you look like you were going to cry?" Do you remember that? We have to.
My mother didn't
tell
know
that
any of
story.
that was
I
going
forgot
on.
about that.
Oh, my
Anyway,
God.
the place was called Leonard's of Great Neck. It's in Long Island, which Long Island is like off of Queens. It's another community of, I know that people may have heard of it. So there's 5 boroughs, of course, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and the Bronx. And then right on Queens goes Long Island, which juts out into the Long Island Sound.
And Leonard's is like barely in Long Island. It's barely outside of New York City.
It's right on Queens,
It's
Long
right
Island
on the border between the two. And it's a very...
It's extravagant.
It's an extravagant looking place. It's very beautiful. To give you a clue as to what it probably looked like. There's a wedding that takes place in the TV show The Sopranos that was filmed at Leonard's of Great Neck. So it had that extravagant Italian look to it.
Yeah.
So
now, if we were getting married now, we wouldn't do any of that.
No.
Like I could give advice to anybody getting married.
Kids
don't do it.
Kids don't do it.
Not that it wasn't worth
Elope.
it, and not that we didn't have a great time, but the bills afterwards, because you think that you have to do it for other people, is not right.
You go like this. My advice,
do what's
kids.
good for you.
Kids, those 7 friends you and your future wife have.
You'll never see them again.
Those 7 friends, invite them. You're probably not going to see them, but at least they like you.
The other ones.
At least they like you. A lot of the other people at the wedding don't.
Well, that's because if you get you guys know this, right? If you get invited to a wedding,
I bet it was loud and crazy dancing.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! It was.
2 of my bridesmaids fell on the floor because they were dancing so hard on the.
Oh, whoa, that is crazy, crazy.
We should show a wedding video. That's what we should do.
They had these dance platforms, and these girls stood up on the platforms dancing, like tipped over. They also drank a lot. They opened bars.
Surprisingly.
It was loud and crazy. And we had a great time, but I mean, I wouldn't have had such a big to do, and I wouldn't have worried about, there's always going to be people that get invited and have to go. They think it's it's an obligation, but they don't really want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, we never talked about this, actually. You see what you brought up?
You brought up asked a good question, Foxy. No, it's true. Even yet, we never talked about that. It's like interesting, and like Danette said, there's so many stories from that wedding. It was like an adventure in its own time.
We don't have enough time.
Why
didn't we ever think of that?
We should, unless you want to talk all the way until tomorrow morning.
Oh, don't know if I could talk until tomorrow morning.
I'm sorry if we talk.
No, but you're good to talk to. No trouble at all. You're very good to talk to. Talking until tomorrow morning. I mean, obviously some would be open to the idea, but one has to be realistic. But a very, very good story about your wedding. Very interesting.
There's so many stories we wouldn't even begin to know where to start. But like part of that was, and then afterwards, like we did a honeymoon, but like our honeymoon had the bad news. The bad news was a car accident on the honeymoon, which affected Danette's back for years to come.
The honeymoon
and stopped the honeymoon.
Oh,
we had to come home because, like, we thought we were going to go on a road trip honeymoon,
Florida.
So we were going to Florida. It was going to be a long road trip. Now, with the car being smashed to smithereens and having to use like luggage to prop up the seats in order to get back home. That was kind of out of the question. A dude like smashed right into us. We stopped at a red light.
We were just parked at the red light. It was raining out, and a pickup truck came flying out of McDonald's, made the turn,
Bam!
and bammed right into us and pushed
Wow.
us
Right into an
right
intersection.
into the huge intersection.
Maybe
You know those
continents
huge
ago.
intersections? Yeah.
Luckily, all the cars going through that intersection, they all stopped or went around us.
Yeah, we were lucky.
We somehow made. Yes, we Danette was hurt. It was a temporary hurt.
Although not really,
but it really lasted over the years. She always had a bad back since then.
Yeah, you sad, unfortunately. No.
But wonderful. How shall I put it? The privilege of spending much of our honeymoon with her parents. They said, why don't we go do things together? Which is what every young couple wants to hear. Their mom and dad say, why don't we all just spend time together?
Anthony, I just realized something. Do you realize that I can't believe after all these years we're talking about this and I'm realizing, thank you, Gertrude. I'm just realizing now that it is like we are like Everybody Loves Raymond, because we come back from our honeymoon and my parents can't leave us alone.
No, not for a minute.
They can't leave us alone. They never did.
Like loves Raymond. That's very much
that. They never did.
They're
right
so
to when
hard
they
to
passed
say
away,
no to.
the both of them, right?
They were so hard to say no to.
We didn't have
the way they were.
We didn't have.
Wrong with it?
It's just like Everybody Loves Raymond. That's why I identify with that show so much. With the mother constantly coming over. I mean, it wasn't exactly like that, but it was more like my father.
It was more like her father. Her father
Where
was
are we
like
going
Ray's
when you're
mother.
off? When are you off and what are we doing? Where are we going? Get in the car. Let's go for a ride, right?
Yes.
So we moved into an apartment where the bathroom was a normal bathroom, but the shower was in the kitchen.
It was two separate rooms. It was just
2 rooms. That's all it was. $600 a month. It was in a basement down a.
When we first moved in, it was less than $600 a month.
Oh, was it $500? I don't remember.
It was $500. It went up to a whole $600. It was down a hill behind the house in a basement. It had the bedroom had no windows. So when we first slept in there, when we got married, Danette was scared to death.
That's funny.
Oh my!
She was afraid of the dark almost. It was like, oh my God, it's so dark in here.
There's no windows.
There's no window. It's the darkest bedroom I've ever been in my life. You blackout shades don't do this kind of work. It's like, if you slept in a cave. That was when we first bought those plug-in night lights so that you could see.
And this was
have
the
a tiny little light in the corner.
This was the apartment where we've told many stories about the drain not working and the water, the floods,
and the
we don't have time to talk about that now.
And the cold.
But eventually we moved out of there.
Cold in your bones in the wintertime.
Yeah, put a sweater on.
Put a sweater on, the landlord told us.
So we eventually moved out of there and we moved closer to Pelham Bay, which is next to Throgs Neck, which is 5 more minutes away. And what did we do after
Which was a nicer place. That was a nicer place until the dogs moved in upstairs. That was a nicer apartment, but then upstairs moved in the dogs. A dog that barked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And barks more.
Mostly when we were trying to go to sleep. All the time. But eventually we found our way to Queens, which is where we are now.
Yes, Gertrude. Wasn't a raccoon, though. Was this the apartment with the raccoon issue? Wasn't a raccoon.
No. The other R word. They had the rat. Well, we were our old cat, Bluey. Rats. Our old cat, Blue. Not Munchie. Munchie wasn't with us yet, but our original cat was like staring at the door in the bedroom, and we were like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on over there." That's the story that I often tell, where Danette said, "I don't know. She's looking at something. Go take a look." All right, I'll take a look. I opened up the door and went, "Ah!" Closed the door. And I was holding the doorknob like this. What's happening? I'm afraid they're going to come in. Some reason I had the idea that rodents could turn the knob and open the door.
They were
Wow.
water rats, so
They were very
big.
large
They're not
rats.
regular rats.
Oh,
They came from under the floor because we lived by the water. We lived by the water, so it came from under the floor. And then we moved out of there. We couldn't.
And
do
our
it.
landlord wanted like a project. He wanted like a when someone has a hobby, his hobby was doing things that didn't work.
You're welcome, Gertrude. So let's move along from that.
Let's move
story.
along. From
So
there, we
moved
wind
to
up in
another
Queens.
apartment, and eventually we moved to Queens. And are we up to date?
We're up to date.
We started
live in
our
Queens.
YouTube channel about.
When did we start it? I think we
5 years
really
ago,
started
technically.
the YouTube channel. Kind of started like 5 years ago, but it was originally a very, very small. It was a very amateur, small-time operation. It was like it was supposed to be something for Danette to do, just to like fool around with. And she did a few videos, and we started doing some like food vlogs and like talking, and it was mostly Danette centric. It was Danette on camera, me talking a little bit. But it was mostly just Danette filming some videos, and then there was a long hiatus of like
We helped
almost
somebody
2
else
years.
out. We actually helped another YouTuber out.
We actually got experience, kind of like doing
Not
some
on-
stuff with another YouTuber, like on Facebook,
and we were on
like,
his lives,
and we would be on his lives, and
wow.
that's kind of actually how we
That's
got
how
comfortable
exactly
doing the kind like
getting on
like,
camera.
The reason we seem kind of comfortable, like almost from the get-go when we started doing
Pamela.
the live
That's so
streams.
sweet of you.
What did Pamela?
I'd love to have this couple for dinner with wonderful conversations.
Thank
We
you
don't
for
stop
saying that,
talking. That's
Pamela.
one of the problems.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like, that's why we seemed right from the get-go when we started doing live streams. We probably seemed like more used to it, maybe.
Yes,
because we kind of already had done a little bit.
Yeah,
of
I think I was more nervous on his videos
but
because it was new.
Not for ourselves. Not for ourselves. We didn't do it for ourselves.
No.
And it was with somebody else.
And
I
it's so
wrote some
weird.
jokes.
It's so weird because when we were on his live streams, we never looked at the we were like,
I didn't know nothing about numbers.
We didn't look at how many people watched us. We didn't look at how many subs he had. We didn't care.
Analytics.
We just went out with him because we were friends and he was a YouTuber. We were like, all right, we'll go out with you. And we didn't even know when he was going to go live. Like, he didn't say. He was very quiet that way. And like, we would go out to dinner or we'd go out with him and we'd have a blast and we'd come back. And it was like just going out with your friend. Then like 2 days later, we went out with him so much. Then we meet some other friends. We went out with him 2 days later and we get to the car. He was picking us up. And all of a sudden he's live. Like, we didn't even know. We didn't look to see when he was going to be live or anything. We were like so like oblivious and naive that we didn't start our channel and we didn't do anything like ourselves. I didn't really start until after we had been with him. And Anthony had written jokes. We'd written some kind of sketches for him. We told him how to do things. It was so weird because we didn't pay attention to whether he was getting paid or we were just his friends. I didn't know any of the technical stuff. And we didn't know any of that. And we just like helped him. We helped him by being in the videos and then giving him some kinds of content. We don't even do those contents ourselves, the things we wrote for him. Do you realize that? Yeah, the things we don't even do that. We have other talents that nobody knows about. And we don't do that kind of stuff. We don't really do it anymore. Maybe one day we will. But then that all ended, and then we decided, well, you know what? We had fun with him doing it, so we decided. So we restarted the channel. But Danette said, here's an interesting thing. Danette said, if I continue to do the channel, that's when she said, I don't want the name of the channel to be what it originally was, because it was Danette. It was Danette's channel. It only had her name on it. And she said, if you're going to be part of this, I don't want it to just be me. I don't like the name. I don't want it to be just my And that's how it all happened.
And so we changed. I said, well, what do we call it? And she said, well, why don't we just call it Anthony and Danette? And I said, well, since your name was originally on the channel, let's call it Danette and Anthony, because there's singers on YouTube named Anthony and Danette.
Right, that's
so I
not
said,
us.
Let's flip it. We're not the R&B singers, Anthony and Danette. We're Danette and Anthony. So I flipped it to that. And I said, and then we started up doing the restaurant review thing again, where we film It was easier now that we had
Thank you,
we had like a better camera, and then eventually the phones. So we did mostly restaurant reviews, and then we started doing the live thing. And the live thing just, on the one hand, I like to tell people this, it won't take me long to say it, is that like there's the pluses and the minuses for someone like us that only do this as a hobby. The thing about filming vlogs, there's things about it that are harder to do, but there's also things about it that are easier to do than going live. It's much more planned out. You can edit when you're filming things, but the editing in itself is a job. But on the other hand, going live, you never know what's going to happen. You can go somewhere and you don't have a signal. You got to like suddenly change gears and do something else.
You can't see the chat.
Or you can't see the chat. Something else goes wrong.
Somebody might flash you. That happened to us.
Somebody might flash you on camera. That happened once. But on the other hand, the live streaming at first seemed easier, but like everything was it was a learning process in the end. If you look at our old live streams, there were a lot of part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
Wow.
We would lose signal, and I didn't know how to restart the original stream.
You
haven't seen that again those haven't happened in a while.
And then after we started doing the live streams, I was like, oh, that's what he was doing. And oh, that's what he was looking at on his phone. He never told us that. I guess he thought we didn't care about it. So we never really talked to him, the other YouTuber, about his channel or anything. We were just friends. And
I didn't know anything about analytics.
We knew how people acted in the chat. We knew when there was a troll. We knew certain things that we saw, but the part about being a YouTuber, we didn't know anything. We were so oblivious, right?
Really not much at all, especially the business angle, the analytics of it, which is a thing I still barely pay attention to it. I do look at the I'm not going to tell anybody any nonsense like I never look at the analytics. Obviously I do, but we don't focus on it.
No, because that's not why we're doing it.
We're having fun. We're doing this as a hobby for the most part. We don't have 1 million subscribers. We don't expect to have 1 million subscribers. This isn't the job. It is a hobby in itself. The fact that we make a few nickels and a few pennies, we make a little bit of money
that
from
helps
it.
Us do
it's
what we
nice,
want to
and
do
it helps us
channel.
do some of the things we do on the channel.
Yes,
go places and pay for certain things. Go to restaurants
and give away at Christmas
and do giveaways.
We give gifts away.
We always love to do our giveaways at Christmas
like to give
time.
at Christmas.
We have fun with that. Sometimes we like a little bit out of our mind. Like we didn't know how high some of the delivery fees were.
The post office box cost like was it $250 or $350?
Oh, the P.O. box?
The P.O. box sending the stuff was kind of almost more than the gifts itself. It was ridiculous. I mean, but it cost us quite a bit, but it was because of the channel. People give us that. People are so generous to us. We never expect anything ever. And when people are generous to us like that, we just feel so humbled. We feel like we just have to give back. That's just the way we feel. And this has been like that since the very beginning. I mean, really, right? Remember Nick G tried to explain to me when we were off camera, he was explaining to me how don't feel bad about, someone giving you something, like how it works, the working of YouTube, how people want to show their appreciation. Remember?
Yes. Nick G, who's from Great Britain. He's a countryman. And one of our moderators. He's a very nice guy. We loved meeting up with him when he was in New York. And he actually broke it down very well. He explained to us that, you're doing something and people appreciate it. And that's why they want to give back to you. And it's, what it is. And Danette and I would almost say, even more than anything, monetary gifts or gifts, one of the nicest things is the kind words that people say to us, the things that people tell us, the when they tell us how they feel about what we do. God. And we're moved. We are. We because we
just
don't
yesterday
expect
somebody sent us a message, and it the both of us were like, oh my God, we couldn't believe it. the interaction with you guys, the humans, the rest of you, the world.
It's the interaction.
It's the interaction. Look at us talking to you where you are right now. Foxy, you're in another country and
far away.
I can't believe we're sitting here talking to you. Like, to me, that's amazing.
It's nice where you are. It's incredible.
I mean, I still remember the night we decided one weird night to go very late. We never did it again. We decided to go late, and Foxy shows up, and he's cool, and he brings his people with him, and they're cool, and it's just like, look at this connection we have. And then if we didn't start the channel, we would have never met you and all these wonderful people.
And coincidence, and then Gertrude just showed up by coincidence.
That same.
It's true.
And what are you doing here?
Harry, Gertrude and Foxy knew each other from their channel. I just love.
And let me tell you, I just want to thank Foxy. I want to thank you, not just for being you, because you're such a nice guy, and it's so amazing having you be part of our channel and our lives.
Thank you.
And we hope the same for you, that you feel the same way. But also your subscribers, some of your subscribers who have become part of our family, our family channel.
They're amazing.
You have given us the gift that keeps on giving.
That's
people
right.
Like Gertrude, who just keep on giving, being and part Jennifer. Of the family. Jennifer, so many people, and because you yourself have such a great community. And I'm sure you would agree with me. The community is what creates the channel.
Exactly.
That community.
That's where the heart
is. It absolutely does. It absolutely does.
Absolutely. You could feel it too, right?
Not yes, definitely do.
Feel that. Not all YouTubers are doing it for that reason, I should say. No. And so we get more out of the communication and the relationships, whatever they are or whatever they're going to be, than anything else, than giving us money. We
100%.
Yeah, we don't ever have to get anything from anyone, and we're happy with just doing our thing and making sure that everyone else is trying to have some fun while we're having fun. That's really what it's all about.
If we never got a nickel from anybody,
that would be
and
fine.
We got these kind of messages that we get, where people put their heart out there to us, and we're so surprised and so humbled by it. That would be enough. Exactly. That would be enough, because you go like this. Look what this person said, and we're always like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Sometimes Danette will have tears in her eyes from some people.
I can't believe that they feel that way towards us. Like we're just two doofuses from Queens, New York. We do, Virginia. We do love seeing them in the chat. Absolutely. I don't want to interrupt, but somebody wants to know where we're from. We're not from Massachusetts. We're from New York, and we are now sitting in Queens, New York. But I am originally from the Bronx. So if you hear my voice, that's considered a Bronx accent. Anthony has a New York accent.
A New York accent.
Not
it's
as much
Manhattan
as me.
accent. And the Manhattan accent, sometimes known, according to what I've read, as is it referred to as?
Thank you, Pamela. It's the nicest thing. Oh my
continental accent.
Look at what
it used to be called.
Yes, continental. Community creator creates the channel, but the YouTuber attracts a certain type of people. Foxy and DNA clearly attract kind hearts. That is amazing that you could say that, because Anthony says that all the time. Anthony always says that.
Amazing,
all the
Pamela.
time.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Comment, because I agree with that. I've always said that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you agree, Foxy. I always say that. You get back what you put out.
Absolutely.
If you put out grief, you're going to get back grief.
So Pamela has a question. What has been your biggest challenge running a YouTube channel? I know what my answer is without even thinking, but I'd like to hear what you say, because we don't think alike. We have different. Sometimes we finish each other's sentences, but we're two human beings, two different people.
Yeah.
Hi, Danny, the explorer. Look who's here.
Hey,
thank you, Danny.
Hi, Danny. Hello.
Subscribe to Foxy 313.
Yes. Support Foxy. He's a
great channel, and his community is amazing.
And amazing people in the community. And many of them are also. There are some who are also content creators who have really interesting channels, like Grumpy, for instance.
Yes.
Sapper. He's a fun guy. But my answer to that question, that Pamela posed
Uh-huh.
is,
My
I
hair
would
is
say,
on.
it's a little bit of hair there. I would say, off the top of my head, I would simply say just the investment of time, finding the time to go
That's
live,
exactly
and
what I was going to
putting
say.
in the thought to like go like,
It's
you know,
because I work. I was
because
just going to
Danette
say
works.
work. My job. I have a 40-hour-a-week job.
Oh,
And
wow.
sometimes you got to go to work. You just want to, oh man, today's beautiful out, or oh, we could go here to up. No, got to work. And my
Yeah.
hours are funny. They're in the middle of the day to night, and it's just so challenging.
Finding the time, and
So I
think,
know that we have the same answer. Look at
and
that.
I think almost one other thing to add to that, along with finding the time, is that like we both try, maybe Danette even more so
I
than
know what
me.
you're going to say.
We both try to make each video individualistic
Yeah.
and like
Different
special or different
or
in some fashion.
even though we don't
and
do
it
anything
probably
amazing,
is
it's in our
more
head that way.
important even to Danette than
Yes,
it is to me.
Very important.
So like we also put a lot of effort into figuring out like what would be something good to do. What is going to not seem like we did that a minute ago, if you know what I mean.
Even if we're just making
Danette,
something.
it's important to Danette a little more than to me, but we both think about it. I would say that's tough.
There's some videos where we just go live and we haven't figured it out because things happen, or the plan A fell through, and now what are we going to do? It's like the first of the month. We go live for the first of the month every single month, and sometimes the thing we were going to do like fell through. So now we have like, what do we do? Well, like it's 15 minutes. What do we do now? Well, I could do this, so we could do that. And it's like, so then sometimes, this doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes those videos become the best videos when it's not thought out. You want to know why? Because it just evolves. The chat, our chat, what we do on our channel, if you don't know, the main thing besides showing what we do and you guys coming along with us, is that we are very interactive with our chat. We want them to talk. We want them to communicate back and forth. And we want to talk back and forth. It's not about you guys just watching and listening. It's about a communication back and forth. So sometimes without us thinking, we just go live and we say, oh, well, whatever. We have to do this. Let's just do it. We put the thing on. And then all of a sudden we have conversations that turn into other conversations, that turn into the other conversations. And then before you know it, we're laughing, and this one's telling this thing, and another one's telling that. When it's not just us anymore, it's the chat also talking. And we're talking about subjects that every time we go off, I go, Anthony, did you have any idea we were going to be talking about like Blockbuster Video or, or whatever it is, or that you were going to tell that story? I forgot about that. Like, our whole lives comes with stories, because Anthony and I have met a lot of weird people. When I say weird, they're just,
extravagant,
over the top,
over the top,
mostly in the Bronx.
Happens.
So
in many Bronx. I bet there are many weird people in the Bronx.
Yes,
there are,
and they're lovely people. It's just that it's extravagant. It's over the top. And people love to hear those stories because it's like out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? And what does that say? Collaboration is great to grow as a channel and meet good people along the way.
Some idiots too. Correct, Grumpy.
By the way, not to bring it down, but we do want to give our condolences to your friend who passed away.
Oh, Graham, yes, you died, Graham.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
Feel
to all of you.
And deepest condolences to his wife, of course, as well.
Oh, yes.
It was I know it happened a while ago, but I know it's still stinging, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It did subdue me for quite a good few days. I mean, I got past it, but it did subdue a lot of us inevitably.
Of course. That's natural.
Everybody.
No trouble at all. No trouble about misrecognizing the accent. No trouble at all. But Jen just got her story on New York City. She lived in 177 East 77th.
Oh, wow.
And did a little office work in Rego Park.
We're not far from Rego Park.
Not that far. Mm-hmm. Not that far from Rego Park.
Not at all.
We have highly sensitive in the house. The Lever Danette walking in the snow on a
Oh,
cold
I
winter
know.
night was that. Oh my God, I love Danette in the winter. I love
Oh.
Danette. I don't know. I haven't been in all of the Danette in the snow
I think
videos.
I did 2 without
I've
you.
been in.
One
Danette's
year.
done 2 without me, but I love Danette alone in the snow. She's always the best.
Because I'm always frozen. Kind of, y'all. It's fresh loss for several of us here. I know.
True. Yeah.
It's true. It wasn't a long time ago. It wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. But now getting to the next question, because
Go.
wow, that was amazing information about the wedding and all sorts of things and what Danette's parents were like, and everything you had to share was fantastic. And some of the questions you provided, very good questions and good information in response to it. So now we've gone post-wedding. We obviously honeymoon got cancelled because of back injury. But one thing I want to say regarding back injury, if there's anyone watching who has endured back injury, either temporarily, short-term, or lifelong back injuries, do not be afraid to open up and talk about it, because back injury is serious, and there's always someone who's going to want to listen to the story about what back injury is like, because, I mean, it's not always often, but sometimes the real true scale of back injury can be missed out. So it's good, Danette, that you were not afraid to open up about back injury and life-changing events it can have that goes to it. Now, getting to the part, obviously it was the cancelled honeymoon. Sorry, I nearly forgot what I was going to say. It's a bit stupid, but do share the post-working life when leaving the supermarket. What happened next after the post-working life, post-wedding? What happened post-supermarket working? Sorry.
Well, we left. We both left the supermarket before we got married because we were older. But what happened? Thinking.
I was thinking.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, we moved through. Well, Danette beforehand, like you went through a whole host of different jobs. I guess.
Yeah. And Anthony worked at the Empire State Building.
I worked in the Empire State Building. I worked in healthcare for the longest time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, I did work for a little while in like a paper business, like an office supply business, which was that in itself is another like 2-hour storyline.
Yeah, let's not go
of
there.
Strangeness.
Back in the Bronx. Yeah.
You've seen the show, both the British and American versions of The Office.
I have, yes.
I did not know it was a documentary.
It was Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant's The Office. Very funny and very weird. It's a wacky, weird, and very funny comedy.
You wouldn't think it might be an actual documentary, but I discovered it could be.
Anthony,
people are weird. What's that?
Some of the people that you worked with were worse than the show. I'm just saying.
Oh wow!
Somebody asked me if
they were characters straight out of an author's pen.
Not to interrupt, but Harriet wants to know: did you ever go to Studio 54 or the Limelight? Which is an interesting question.
That's an interesting question. You want to know why?
I just so happened to have gone once. I was underage. I had a fake
Limelight.
ID.
She went.
Oh wow!
And
she was a dewy-eyed teenager. I hadn't even met her yet.
I was following my dumb friends.
I heard that story that she was a dewy-eyed teenager. I remember that story.
So I went to the Limelight once, and it just so happens that there was 3 or 4 floors. I don't remember everything, but one of the floors that we didn't go to, I didn't really have a good time. I didn't like it. I was underage, and I was one of the sisters of somebody I never met before. Her sister and her boyfriend were older, and they took us, and then they left us. And there was guys there that were much older than us, and well, it turns out that Madonna was performing on one of the other floors, and she wasn't famous yet.
She was not famous.
So she was young too, actually. So that's that answer, and that's it. I never went to Studio 54.
As far as the weird little sidebar to that of the studio of Danette nor myself ever went to Studio 54, but we did go to what is it? We have been to the place that Studio 54 was in at one point. We've been there after it changed hands. We actually saw the play
That's how
Cabaret
old
at
we are.
Studio 54's
Oh, that was a
old
great
building. So we've been there, technically
I
speaking.
did not see Madonna, no, because the people I
She
was
did
with
not.
wanted to go to another floor, and we never left there. And they were drinking and everything, and I just
Wow.
stayed with them. I didn't want to go anywhere by myself. So
Imagine Danette is very innocent now,
I was really
as a
innocent then.
married woman in her 50s. So you can imagine what she was like as a 15, 16-year-old.
She was dewy-eyed, as you said, Anthony.
Yeah,
She was
I
dewy-eyed.
was
Yes.
very, very
I was
naive.
not dewy-eyed when I was 15. I was certainly not dewy-eyed. I think maybe when I was a little boy, I was probably dewy-eyed, but I'm definitely not now.
She was.
Pamela also was underage. She snuck into discos.
Snuck into
I went
discos.
to Times Square. It was called Playland. It was a sketchy place. I went to Times Square. We walked in. I think it was $5. It was like a big $5 that time. And all they did was you took your picture, and they made up all this thing, and I got a card.
Yeah. She basically
You
went
can
to
never get away with that now.
Just that she basically went
no,
to the adult
not.
bookstore / peep show to get her fake ID.
Because
That's what Playland was.
I didn't even know that.
She didn't go that far in.
No, you just walk in. It was to the left-hand side.
She said it was to the left-hand side.
We just went to
And
the left. There was a door there where they were giving out IDs. Like you
when she was
IDs.
very surprised the first time I told her that if she'd have kept walking,
No.
she would have saw some other things she hadn't seen before.
I knew not to go all the way in.
Well, some things you had seen before, but other
Yes.
things you hadn't.
Oh my God. That was the only time I ever used it. And I never went back out with those people again. I did not have a good time. I did not like it. None of that was for me. I was too
I think
young.
she showed it to me. She still had it
I
when
don't
we
know if I
when
still
I met
have
her.
it.
I don't think she still has
I
it.
look like
but
a
she showed it to
child.
me, the fake ID.
I mean, shame on New York City. I look like a child. Shouldn't let people in. And really, all that was for was to get drinks. But I never drank. All of them were drinking, and
she
I
had
wasn't.
the one.
I didn't
she
care
told
for
me.
drinks.
She
so
told me there was just the one vodka
I just
and
got
orange
in.
juice.
That was it. Not in that place. I
Not
didn't
in
drink
that
in
place.
there. No,
that was the Peppermint Lounge. She told me about, which was another place she wasn't supposed to be in. Your friends were bad influences on you.
That was where I went. I'm sorry. It wasn't the It wasn't
It
Limelight.
wasn't Limelight.
It was the Peppermint Lounge. I only went to one place. That's it. I
thought
forgot
so.
the name. See, I was wrong. I'm sorry. It wasn't Limelight. It was the Peppermint Lounge. That's where I went, where they had different floors. I'm sorry.
That was the place where Madonna was upstairs.
Because poor Foxy doesn't know that we're like not shutting up.
We're long-winded.
Oh, no trouble.
Exactly.
I was rear-ended in my truck and my head bounced off the steering wheel back and forth twice. Back pain for years. I still work my ranch. Afraid of surgery,
I won't
says
get
Ginger.
surgery either. Like, I won't do it.
I'm afraid of surgery too. I mean, surgery, I'm like, oh God, why on earth would I want to do
Jeanette
it?
hasn't had it either. She never wanted to.
Thank God that I have. It's been a couple of years now, but every once in a while, my back goes out. Did you ever have a time when your back went out and you
I've never had that.
out of bed? Like you can't
I've
get
never
out
had
of
back
bed.
problems.
Oh, then you're lucky. Good for you.
I've never had back problems, but I do feel for those who do have back problems.
It's
or
terrible
their
because
backs
it's your
done
whole
in.
body. Mm-hmm.
Well, when your back's done in, it really does a lot of trouble, doesn't it? Especially at your old age, it can really be quite problematic.
Absolutely.
Even though you don't look your age, which is what I'd say.
Thank you.
But one thing I would say.
Hi,
most
Carol.
Most of you would.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, one thing people wouldn't believe is that you are both in your late 50s and early 60s. Many would find hard to believe. Even I find this hard to believe.
Danette used to get asked for her ID in places like bars and things, all the way up until her mid-30s. She used to always get carded.
But not anymore.
She was not anymore.
No,
but like when she was like 35,
it took a while.
They still asked her for ID.
It took a while for my face.
They thought she was under 21 most of the time.
It took a while for my face to look like
adult life.
Now it's happening. Like the last 5 years, even last year, I can see my eyes are starting to go down. Like I'm getting older looking. But it's not about how you look. Let me explain.
No, it's personality is what matters.
Exactly. Now we were at the Easter parade. We covered the Easter parade on Fifth Avenue at St. Patrick's Cathedral. And the last time on Sunday, that was the last time. No, that wasn't the last time we were live. We were live yesterday. But when we did that, I'm very forgetful. That's an age thing. But anyway, when we covered the Easter parade, I met a woman at the top of the stairs, and she wanted to know our channel name. I didn't have the gimbal with me. I went up there just to take pictures, and she was like, she had her daughter. Her daughter looked like she was maybe in her late 20s, and she was like my age. And she said something like, "Wait a minute, you have a channel?" And you're like, I said, "Yes, my husband and I. My husband's the guy with the peep hat." And then I said, "Oh, you don't know. You've got to come into our channel. You would love our channel because we don't care about age or, there's nothing like that. Everybody's welcomed. It's a safe space. We love to have people have fun." I told her, I told my age. I said, "I'm 59. Anthony's 61. I said, but we act like we're 18 or, like kids, sometimes younger. We act younger because that's what is happening.
I'm acting like a 12-year-old
We
a lot
have
of times.
fun that way. There's no book there's no manual or book that says what's right or wrong, right? So I believe that whatever makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anyone, and as long as you are, free of any kind of like, I don't know even how to say it. Like,
Malice.
Just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
And let yourself go. Be happy, because that is all we really have, right? You only have one life, and I'm not trying to get dark here or anything, but
completely, you have one life. Completely,
you only have one life, and it's not that you should think about that all the time, like, oh, we only have one life, but don't get so bogged up in what things can be when you can just let it go. That's what I want to say. Just let it go. And maybe for an hour or two, when you come into our chat, you'll see things that sometimes we have no control over. Sometimes we get mad, mostly me.
Mostly Danette.
Sometimes Anthony has a crazy fit and something happens. And so it's fun. That's all I want to say.
But might I say, you certainly do not look 59 at all, Danette. If you told me you were, say, if anyone said you two were, say, 52 and 58, I'd believe it. I definitely would never have believed 59 and 61. I never would have believed that.
But guess what, Foxy? But guess what? If I looked older than my age, let's say I looked 65 at 59, it really still wouldn't matter. I appreciate your kindness there, but it's really what's inside. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
True, but one thing I could say, one of my best friends, he's a couple of years older than Anthony. I mean, he was 61 when I first met him. He's 63 now. He looked a lot worse than what Anthony looked like.
Worse?
No, actually, there is a serious reason why. Because when he was about 48, he had a stroke.
Oh,
and
no.
A stroke that can age people.
Well, that's different.
That's a different thing. Yeah. That is different. That is different.
He's okay. He can go out and fortunately do things. But he's not aged well as a result of the stroke. I mean, he's got a lot less hair than Anthony, and he's wrinkled, which obviously I haven't seen with you two. And it's just generally, though he can do things, he generally doesn't look well. He's looked better now since the last time I saw him. But when I first met him, he was Anthony's age and looked about 10 years older, something like that, easily.
That's just because that's a thing that can happen.
He's probably still healing then, because if he looks better, it does take time after a stroke.
It could take quite a bit of time sometimes.
Since he had the stroke, it's got to the point where he's on daily meds. So you can imagine that could age someone or stroke survivor.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But on the main point, that was a bit irrelevant. The main point is it doesn't matter what one looks like. What matters most is the personality. And you two have the personality that attracts a good community that obviously translate to a good viewership and, being good to people. That's the main thing. The main purpose in life is having a good morality.
Exactly.
Be good to others because there's just too much ugliness going on out there.
Absolutely.
We need more good in the world, not ugliness, more good. That's the way forward. And might I also say, with you two representing what I would describe a consummate and wholesome community, it's the way forward. It's the way forward, having a welcoming, consummate, wholesome, friendly community built out of friendliness and kindness constructively is the way forward. And it's a huge message to the world, especially when there's like war and fighting, whatever going on there. Be good to people. Fighting gets you nowhere. Being good
Couldn't
gets
agree
you
with you more. 100%. Absolutely.
Just be a good human is what I heard once. And that solves a lot of problems.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. How many problems could be solved by that? What is it? How long have you had your channel, Danette?
Fabulous question.
Well, we've had it like about, like we said a little earlier. It started like 5 years ago. It's going to be like 6.
I would say
but it was kind of like a lull. There was like a break of like 2 years. So we've been doing it like steadily for like 3 years now. Yeah. I would say 3 years. This was like, for instance, our third year at the hat parade.
Yeah.
So that was our third year
I think
there.
we started in, was it October of the year before? So maybe it'll be.
It's close to 4.
4 years at the end of the year.
Now steadily. This is pretty much 4 years now, I think.
But we don't go live.
So,
what do you think the average is a month? Maybe
I would
eight times, 7
We used to be more. There was a time for a little while there before I had my injury, before like my knee got hurt really bad, where we were going on a little more regularly. But now it's kind of like backed off to like maybe like 4 or 5 times a month usually, unless there's something like yesterday when we were live was kind of like a surprise. It was a surprise to us because we went somewhere that shouldn't have had a signal because it never had a signal any other time. So like when I checked the signal, I decided that said, you want to go live? And we didn't have anything with us. We had no battery for the phone. We had no gimbal. We had the little tripod. We keep an emergency tripod in the trunk of the car.
Yeah, we used it yesterday.
So Danette ran out to the car, got the emergency tripod, and I hooked it up to that and just kind of stood it on the table while we had lunch. What is Ginger saying to you? I used to be the same way, so I enjoy being around people I could learn from a youngster. You're such a sweet. Foxy is a very sweet guy, Ginger.
We feel so grateful that you came in that night, and I always tell Anthony, if we didn't go on late at night, we probably wouldn't have found you.
Yeah, sometimes things happen by chance that like
true.
Really
True that.
Good things. Bad things can happen by chance, but you'd be surprised. I think personally, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of really good things happen by chance too.
Yeah, true.
Odd coincidences that come about where, like, you wouldn't know they were going to happen. Like I said, I lived for years, like a few blocks away from Danette, and never met her. If I didn't go to work, get a job at the supermarket, which was not a guarantee, I was gonna like apply for a job somewhere else, but instead I went and applied for a job. I was a young guy, a kid basically, and I applied there. I wouldn't have met her because I hadn't met her living in that neighborhood all those years.
You worked in the night shift, so like I didn't even really see you. That you started working there in 1985. So I was already working there, but I was working in the day. You were working at night. Remember?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, that's a difference.
And I didn't see her in the summertime.
Thank you, Carol.
I didn't see her. That was when she went on her big trip to what do you call it? A big trip to Disneyland.
Can I ask you a question? World. Foxy, can I ask you a question?
Danette, it's a reverse. It's a reverse interview. She's going to ask you a question.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Yes, Danette.
Okay. So you're a content creator as well. Do you do the things that you think YouTube would like you to do? Like, do you have merch, and do you like pay attention to what they say to push? And am I saying this right?
Yeah, I guess what you mean is like all the YouTube suggestions.
Yeah. Do you do this YouTube suggestions? Do you ever go vertical, or or have merchandise? Do you try to push your channel the way YouTube wants you to? I'm just curious.
Oh, good question. No, it's a fantastic question. Complicated but fantastic. I haven't advertised merch yet, but it's something I'm thinking about doing one day, merch. But it's a matter of getting it put together.
Okay.
And other things, vertical, I've never been one for vertical live streaming. Is this vertical live streaming event? I've never thought about vertical live streaming, but some suggestions, well, there's some you can easily take on board, or some you could take it on board, but sort of do it in your own way, if you know what I mean. So I think it's a good way to do it, not copy out the full-blown suggestion. Take some of it on board, but also put your own ideas to it. I think that's a good way forward, really, with certain suggestions, be it YouTube suggestions or suggestions from friends or your own ideas creatively in the creativity of that context, what have you. So the conceptual point to the answer of the question is, it's good to take advice from YouTube or your friends who may be content creators or watch content or certain content you're not familiar of. Do take the advice on board. You don't always have to follow it, but certainly don't throw the suggestion out of the window. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I actually myself, I 100% agree with everything you said. Because that's the way I always feel about it. I don't feel that like YouTube is trying to help you out. They're making suggestions, but like, I think some creators probably take the suggestions that YouTube makes too seriously. Remember, one thing that works for one person may not work for another type of content creator. Mm-hmm. Certain things don't work for everybody. And as far as the vertical goes, I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of it for live streaming. I think it makes some sense in certain scenarios. That's how I feel about it. A sudden, simple, like just talking to the camera, interacting. I don't think to me, it doesn't make sense. Part of the charm of YouTube live streaming is that you're able to feel like you're at a place, and it's hard to get that sense, because a lot of people, YouTube is different than say TikTok or Instagram. It's the YouTube is something that people really do watch it on their television set, for instance. They watch YouTube on the TV, or they watch it on big screens on their big laptops or their computers sometimes. So they get that sense of that widescreen type, the world. They're seeing the world and they're interacting with it. And that just doesn't come across in a vertical situation. It's because so many people, I know people do watch YouTube on their phones, obviously, but not everybody does. There are a surprising large amount of people who interact with YouTube on their television or on larger computer setups.
Oh yes, or large desktops, what have you.
Lori asks a question. Lori Meller in the chat, one of our subscribers, she asked the question, does being vertical bring you more money? Does it give easier access for more views? You've heard that. I would say this is what I've heard from some people, because I tried to look at it, is that in certain ways it can, but it kind of depends, again, like you and I were just now talking about, Foxy. It depends on what kind of content do you do? Who are your viewers? Now, you can, I have read and heard and seen some creators who are more expert on it than myself say that creating vertical content, depending on what kind of content you do, can help you in the short term. But actually, there's some evidence that in the long term, it can harm the channel.
True.
By pushing out your videos to people that want a certain type of content, who may discover you because you're vertical. But when you, as a live streamer, begin to do other kinds of content because you're a live streamer, that may not actually fit to like what the vertical viewer is looking for. So for instance, vertical viewers, people that watch on the vertical streams, which is like looking at shorts. It's like looking at shorts, so looking at TikTok
So
videos
they go through
or
quick.
Instagram. So they swipe. Now the swiping may bring you new subscribers.
That's why they do
and
it for
viewers
clicks.
and a lot of views in a short time. And you could make money doing it vertically. But I've heard they've said there's some evidence that doing that, unless you really stick to that kind of content, if you're going to, like, for instance, put it this way, if you're going to do vertical, stay on vertical. You can't flipping back and forth. If you do flipping back and forth after doing a lot of vertical, could actually hurt the channel. Some of those people that want to see vertical content are not going to come back to see the horizontal content, because the horizontal content, as we were saying, it looks better on your television, on your desktop, on your computer. It's easier to watch. The shorts viewers who are phone viewers, they like the vertical content because it fits in with what like certain types of content.
I would say it's a lot of younger people. Because
a lot of younger people.
They're going to college, they're going to high school, they have their phone in their hand constantly. And it's about the flipping, right? Like, what can I see? What's my attention span going to be?
Let me stop here.
And so when you do this and you stop, that's how you're getting more of the views.
You can get the views.
So if I go vertical and people are stopping at my thing, my numbers go up. But you know what happens though? You're not getting that one-on-one conversation. That's how I feel. And I've already asked our chat, and so many of them, I didn't see one of them say that they liked vertical. So I'm just going to do with what our people want from us.
From what I've read and what I've heard, it's very similar to what they told you about originally when they said to do shorts content. Now, doing shorts can get you new subscribers, especially if you have a few shorts that hit big like that. It can get you new subscribers. Now, the drawback of that, after a while, some people that did research on it that saw that there was some evidence that unless you're a dedicated shorts content creator, there are literally people who only make shorts, right? There's people that only make shorts. You can't find long videos by them. But unless you're that person, became evidence that if you that doing shorts in long run doesn't actually help long form videos or live streaming. It doesn't help. It actually harms.
That's true, Pamela, because you're on the go. That's what I mean. Like on the go, you're not always sitting in front of a television or whatever. But Grumpy says that horizontal gets him more views.
You see, it depends on the content. Grumpy's content is geared towards a certain viewership,
right?
Obviously, just like ours is geared towards certain viewership. Foxy's
different.
is geared to a certain viewership, and there's certain things that just kind of work better with your audience.
Look what Grumpy says.
For YouTube shorts, also known as toilet shorts. Now, that a man after my own heart.
That's funny.
Sapper, that's a joke that you almost could have read my mind. That's a good one. I think I might borrow that somewhere down the line. You better copyright it.
Shorts are for short attention spans. That's right, Pamela.
Yeah, that's what shorts are. It's much more pleasant and vertical. Danette and Anthony, Grumpy is doing disco night. Let's see. Thank you, guys. More pleasant.
Well,
you were very welcome, Lori.
Thank you. Well, Lori also says that yes, how can they not realize you will lose viewers? Because those are some of those people, some YouTubers are in it for the getting more people. There's schemes, and there's not that that's a scheme. Vertical's not a scheme,
It's
but
not a
there's
scheme.
schemes
It's
and
just
there's
a
things
thing.
you can do to make your channel go higher. The number can go higher. That's not because it's naturally done, not because someone just finds you, like when Foxy found us and then subscribed to us. That's the natural way, right? But there are a lot of YouTubers out there that all they do is stare at their numbers because it's like some kind of a competitive, or I don't know what they think. I don't know if they think that, like, honestly, I can't answer that, but that's what it's about. It's about getting more views, more numbers. That's what it's geared towards. That's what Anthony was saying, is that it's like doing something that's not good for you in the long run, unless that's all you're doing, right? Yeah. Like Anthony said, just be vertical. But if you go flip-flop back and forth, you're just trying to get your number up or more people to watch you or whatever it is.
In the long run, it may harm the channel.
Exactly.
Do more harm than good. Now, you know, on the one hand, it's like people
exactly, like, Grumpy. Quality beats quantity.
It does.
I don't care if it's really does. Organically. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you. I get tongue-tied sometimes.
To grow organically.
Exactly. And we've had people say to us, how come they don't have more people watching? And I say, don't look at the number.
It's all right.
Who cares,
it's okay.
Right? It's not about that, you know?
Most people are not going,
and YouTube, unless you are somebody, one more thing, I'm sorry. Unless you're somebody who has, I mean, and you must know this too, Foxy, because you're doing it.
Yes, I do.
Unless you're someone who's extraordinarily, for whatever reason, have like 750,000 viewers or whatever. The rest of us are not getting rich or not making a lot of money. It's very little money. I know that what we make plus what we put ourselves goes back into the channel. What will we do? But you don't make much at all. It's not about the money.
You have to have a lot of subscribers to like do that, and more power to them. If you have a lot of subscribers, that's fine. Like Danette said to me once, she said, like, why would you want, like, do we really care? I always like to put it this way. The only reason, at this point at least, the only reason I care about how many subscribers we have is because I feel like we're doing something that's at least a little creative, and I like the idea that we're sharing it with a few more people. And Danette said to me, all right, I'll accept that reason. When she tried to tell me, I don't see any big deal about having more viewers. And I said to her, well, the only reason I want more viewers is because I think we're doing something that we should share.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's more about doing it because you wanna share what you're creating, to use a better use a better word.
What we concentrate more on is the content.
That's it. It's not about making money. You know, it's not about that. But I would like personally, and I think Danette does to some extent too, I like personally to share what we do and what we say and what we might like. Be as entertaining as we can be and interact with people. And it's fun.
We have so much fun. You know, Foxy, we had the first thing we ever said to each other when we decided to be Danette and Anthony and do it together. I said to Anthony, let's make a promise to each other and let's keep it. And we've done this right to now. The promise is the minute we're not having fun, the minute it doesn't seem like fun anymore, we're going to end it and close the account. And Yes, and that's what we stick by. That's us. We both have to have fun. This isn't about, I got to do a live stream, or, what am I going to do today? Or
we don't want it to seem like work.
No, it's not work. It's not work. Unless something frustrates you, it doesn't work out. Like when you're in a restaurant, is frustrating. And a guy comes and flashes you, you don't expect that to happen. But now we can laugh about it.
Now you can laugh. Yeah, you can laugh. We can laugh.
I like Grumpy. Grumpy comes right out and says what he thinks, and I like that. You know,
he's a blunt gentleman.
He says some people don't grow because they don't put effort into content and could put a glass eye to sleep. Then they whine and bitch.
True.
Yes.
Wow.
It's true for some people.
Yes. That's so true, Grumpy. So true.
We always like to say complaining is not content.
No. we can all turn our phones on and just start complaining, right?
Yes.
We can all do that. That's not content.
Don't report anybody. Then every time Danette picks up just so you guys know, every time Danette picks her phone up when we're doing anything, she's always this close to like timing somebody out or reporting them to YouTube.
No, I don't report them.
She's just like, her hands are like all over the screen. She did yesterday, not yesterday, but the other day on Sunday. She was timing out multiple people by
Oh my
accident.
God.
Wow.
We have that
wow.
moderators keep taking people out of timeout.
Next time I don't hold the phone no more. All right. So let's get to where we, because we're so long-winded. What was that?
We're so long-winded, but we've been having actually a very lovely conversation. Right?
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's been brilliant. You're very open about yourselves, and that's what matters. Being open, to ask you a question, both of you, have you ever felt deep inside the soul and the heart that opening up about yourself actually makes you feel good about yourself? Have you ever noticed
absolutely.
that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You are 100%. Yeah,
Yes.
I will 100% agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah,
because I felt a similar thing. Because I've felt that whenever I've opened up about myself, whether it's a low point I've gone through, anything difficult or easy, I feel that even being open about yourself, even in the good and hard times, it does a lot of good to you inside, internally.
Oh,
yes, Norman Ross is here. Hi, Norman.
Norm.
Hello, Norman.
Norm. Hello, Norm.
Hi, Norman.
Yes, he's one of your supporters, isn't he? He was on the live stream.
He's been he is one of our
and just to answer that a little bit more, it's also like when you share yourself, you're sharing. It's like when you meet someone, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You're giving to them, and you're almost taking down your wall, right? You're giving yourself up, and you then get more back. When you open up your heart, someone will give you their heart back, and you can see it. You know what I mean? Even though we haven't met everyone personally, you know, they see us and they're communicating with us. We find that to be extremely important. That's our channel. Not all channels do that. You know, maybe they're there to do something, or there's arts and crafts or whatever it is, and it's not about the chat. But our channel is very much about the chat. You know what I mean? That's just how we do it. Not everybody does that. It's not the right or wrong way. That's just the way we are. We didn't even like decide that. It just happened. Like from the beginning, it just happened. One day we had a Christmas video, the first Christmas. And I started talking to the people by saying their name back. I would say like, whatever, Sonia or Sonia, Sheila, oh my God, Sheila or Sonia. And they contact me and said, oh my God, I felt like I was in the room with you. Like you're saying my name. And I'm like, well, you are with me. So, I mean, like, I'm not just looking at an emoji. I know that what I'm looking at on the chat are actual people. You have to think of it that way.
Those are real people.
Those are real people. And when you go off, there are other people that are going to watch. And they're going to see you afterwards like this. They're going to see this afterwards. And so it's just a big connection, right? It's a huge connection. And you know how you know that too? When someone passes away. When someone in the chat or someone you knew from the chat passes away and you never even really met them like physically. And your heart just sinks because they meant something to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. So...
Yep. That's what happened to us with our moderator, Classy, who passed away, and she's our diamond in our
we made an
emojis,
emoji
to honor her.
And then one of the people we met, Dwayne, who just passed away just recently.
We had the honor to meet in person.
You know, and that's what also brings you back to what are you doing? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why do you have a channel? Why are you here? The important part is us, people, right? Even like something simple, like when we go to sleep here, and if you look at your video and you had like 1,000 views or whatever, and then you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden it's like
1,000.
There's like 2,000 views or there's 1,400, and then you think to yourself, those people in England, the people who watch us from the other side of the world, and that
was awake.
That's what gives me the chills, not the numbers. It's because somebody else, while we're sleeping, is watching us and giving us, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's amazing to me because I never had connections like this before YouTube. I never had connections
as
like
creators,
this.
like you're a creator also, so you know the same thing. You go
Oh,
and
yes.
sometimes you think to yourself, my God, it's kind of pretty amazing that while I was asleep in bed, somebody saw me do something
Somewhere else in the world, not
Somewhere-
just
and
here in
somewhere
United
else in the
States, like
world.
somewhere else in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody,
the UK, and you're going, wait a minute, while I was in bed, someone in South America or in the
Right.
United States was watching this, someone on a Pacific island somewhere, and you're going like this is pretty amazing.
When we first started and we started to see people coming from other countries, like you have no idea the chills I get. Like I am so honored that other countries watch us, that I have a connection with other people from other places. You have no idea how much that affects me. You have no idea. It is really huge to me because making a connection, like I said, is all what it's all about with us. We have fun, we do goofy things. And to think that we're not like solving problems in the world. We're not making medicines to save lives. We're not doing that. We're just making laughs and having fun. And that connection of that silly little thing that makes it all the way to the other side of the world is just beyond me. It's beyond me, all the other countries of people who come in.
Yep.
Just amazing. I love that. That's like one of the best things. That's like one of the most amazing things.
I'm not solving cold fusion in my bathroom or anything.
Right.
Although who knows if I'm not working on it.
Harriet has something to share.
Oh, Harriet, please reach out to us. I'd love to meet you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
If you're in New York, reach out to us at our email address, which you can find our email address in the about page on our channel, or it's just plain old raspberry, the word raspberry, swirl 6, the number 6 at gmail.com. So shoot us an email, or if you're on Instagram, just say, hey, Danette and Anthony, can I talk to you on Instagram? Best ways to get in touch with us. George, Wonderful Gorge, always likes to say, best way to talk to Danette and Anthony is through Instagram. It's instantaneous.
And Pamela has something to share.
People about other
Harry
places.
says, yes, she's due for a museum fix. Oh, we have some great museums.
There's a great museums in New York. And if
I know. Oh, I know.
If Harry's
the
been to New York, he knows
museums.
some,
especially natural history.
So many.
Would you recommend the Natural History Museum in New York?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's such a great place.
That's a must. That's a must.
The first time I went there, I was about yay tall.
Yeah, we went when we were children because the school trips were to the museums. Like if you didn't have parents that took you, my parents did. But if you didn't, I would go like 3-4 times a year with either my family and then with school. So I don't know if they do that anymore. I'll just say that, but they should.
When I was a child, I actually did a few museum school trips with my school. I've done a few. I mean, I might have
in New York, though. I don't know if they do that anymore.
What's that?
I meant in New York. Trips. I don't know if they do it anymore. You think they still do it?
They probably still do. I would think they would.
I think yes, it depends on the school. It's really dependent on what school does it. That's what it really depends on.
When we were kids,
with some schools they do it, some they don't. It's quite different nowadays. But when I was a child, dependent on which school you went to, you'd sometimes have a museum school trip, especially if it was a history museum for educational purposes. Absolutely. It really, nowadays, it more depends on the educational value of a school trip nowadays, especially when it comes to museums. That's what it's got to now, whereas in the past, it was very different.
Mm-hmm. What was a very interesting museum? Was the Museum of the Moving Image.
Oh, that was amazing.
I liked that, which is a really nice museum. It's all about like movies and television, things like that. We actually went with a friend once when we were after we were married, and we went and we saw they were doing a whole presentation about Star Trek. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Harriet says that she wants to go to the Frick. It's refurbed. Yeah,
the Frick is a nice place to visit.
Mm-hmm.
You know where Danette always wanted to go? What's the place you always wanted to go? We've never really been. The Morgan Library?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that the place
No,
you
we
want
were
to go
there.
into?
We were there before, but
I
I want
was
to go
not.
back.
I think you might have been
I
without
think you
me.
were with me.
I don't remember.
I remember going to the gift shop with you. Yeah. I don't know. The Morgan Library is very nice, but there's a lot of museums. What were you going to ask us, Foxy? Did you have another question?
Yes, I was going to ask. When people hear about you two, what do you hope they think about? Or what do you hope they think of you?
That's an amazing question, kind of on the spot. When they look at us, what do they want to think? That we're nice. That we're nice people, and as a channel.
As a channel, why would you like to think?
That.
What I would, it's very similar. It's very similar. Yeah.
You can come here and make a friend.
I would like them to think that when they see that Danette, this is what I would say. I like them to think that Danette and Anthony are showing you who they really are. And that if they tell you they're doing something or tell you they feel a certain way, you think about it for a second. Maybe you go like this if you're another person. You go like this and you go, I totally believe they feel that way.
And it would be true.
I totally believe they feel that way. I don't want people for 1 second to think that we're trying to fool them in some fashion, or that we're trying to tell them
but what's the
something
outcome?
that I don't feel is real.
You want them to come and feel comfortable.
If I want them to know that if we tell them
this is a safe space,
that this is a safe space, that they know it is.
Right.
And if I tell them I feel a certain way, they know it's true.
Yep.
If I tell them that I speak for myself, if I tell them I'm angry, I want them to know Anthony's not play acting. He's actually pissed about something. And I think that's enough. I think for me, that's enough. When they look at the channel, I want them to think, I'll boil it to one word, honest. That this channel is honest.
Yeah.
That we're enjoying ourselves because we really are. That we're doing something because we want to do it. And that we think about them. And if we say someone is a friend, we actually think they are.
Yeah.
We're not like
sometimes
calling it that just for the heck of it.
No, sometimes we're a little disappointed when we think somebody felt a certain way. They said it in our live stream, but then we could see that they're not really being honest with us. People don't know that you could, tell. But you say honesty is the answer.
Yes,
one word.
Honest.
I think I want people to think that we're who we are and that you can be friendly here and have some fun. It's just simple. It's keeping it simple and just come to our channel for some fun. If it's not your thing or you're not having fun, it's okay. You don't have to stay. Right?
Just give it a try. If it appeals to your interest, give it a try. That's the best way forward.
Exactly. We're all different. Everybody's different, right?
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm all for individuality. Everyone's different. That's a part of individuality.
Absolutely.
What does Grumpy wants to know? What makes us giggle? Always the funniest thing that ever happened to you both when you look at. Do you mean Grumpy? Do you mean something in YouTube or something in real life or the non-YouTube life?
Well, YouTube is our
YouTube has become. There's a lot of things. Oh my God, there's so many things, Zapper, that when I go like this,
which one?
When I go like this, I go, Danette, do you remember when this happened? And Danette's like, I can tell her the same stories over. I can remind her of things we do.
We have told stories over because new people come in and they want to hear what they missed out on. And really, that's how we really started, by telling stories, showing places we've gone to since I was a child and since Anthony was a kid, taking you to places in our neighborhood in New York, and then also taking you to places that we've never been to, so we've experienced for the first time too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could think of something that made you giggle.
There was something. What was I telling you? I reminded
Grumpy
you of
said
something.
In life, what makes you giggle in life?
In life, I still laugh. I still feel like the thing that I always laugh about, that like when I think about it, is the ridiculousness of the flood in our first apartment.
Oh my God.
The ridiculousness of it. I look at it, when I picture it in my head, I was so hysterically upset that I actually laugh about it every time.
Oh, we think it's hysterical.
I think it's hysterical when I think
At the time, it wasn't funny.
At the time, it wasn't funny. Do you know what I mean, Sapper?
Well,
There's things that sometimes you go, this was terrible. And then later on you go, holy smoke, that was really pretty funny if you think about it.
Yeah, but you know what that is?
What makes it funny is the flood happens every once in a while.
We were younger. We just got married. You're younger. You think everything is dramatic. You know what I'm saying? And that's your life. You're living in a place where you're afraid it's going to rain because you're
afraid that of a rainy day.
Rain and ruin your carpeting. You're talking to your landlord and telling them, hey, listen, you got to do something. Like, we're looking at the weather. I'm afraid to go to work. It's crazy.
I used to say, I'm afraid of a rainy day, Danette. I'm afraid it's going to rain. I was telling Danette, it's going to rain today. How can we go to work?
So the day that it was the worst, we'll tell a story another time, but the day that it was the worst, my parents were visiting and we had to use like brooms. And Anthony,
in my head, I just giggle. This is why I giggle. We're having coffee.
And he's like, it's coming in. And my parents are there. They've never seen it before.
Because we're sitting there and her parents, this makes me giggle because I look at it and I picture what was going on. You picture what was going on. You picture, I'm sitting there, I'm having a cup of coffee. And then I go like this. I'm having a cup of coffee.
It's raining.
All the time that they're talking and having their cup of coffee. And she's having a nice, pleasant sit down and bless you with her parents. They're having small talk. I'm going like this. I'm looking off to the side at the door because I hear thunder and lightning outside, and I'm going.
Well, hold on, let's give them a little taste of something. So this is after all those months of the problem. The landlord finally puts on
fixed it.
Brand new carpeting. Spent $800 for brand new carpeting. Covered the emergency trap. That if it rains, you could
and they did that because they
said it's never going to happen again.
They fixed the problem.
All right, so here we go. So now we have the new carpeting. My parents.
I was skeptical.
We're looking at the new floor. It's taking up the whole room. It's only one room, and then we hear the rain. Like the two of us are not saying anything to them, and we're just like, and I'm talking to my parents. And go ahead. So you turn your head and you're.
I'm just looking. I'm looking off to the side because I can hear thunder and lightning. And then it's and you know when you hear pouring rain outside, it's hitting the window, and your mom or your dad, they go like this, it's pouring cats and dogs out there now. And then they're like having their coffee, but I'm going like this. Because I'm like worried, because I'm skeptical. The landlord said it's fixed. It'll never happen again. And
I can be skeptical at times too.
I'm skeptical.
Nowhere to put the water.
And then all of a sudden, it's almost like you can hear, when they show you film of a tidal wave where the coast rolls out, where the surf rolls back, and then it's like coming back towards you. And you hear silence. I almost feel like I could hear seagulls in the apartment because like suddenly the sounds got low and I'm like Danette goes, what's wrong? And all I did was scream, it's coming in. I jump up and there's like a wave coming in.
And all this water starts coming into and we wanted
someone turn the faucet.
And we wanted to stop it to getting to the bedroom. It's just that room and the bedroom has carpeting, like actual like carpet.
And my initial instinct, like all people who are geniuses, is like, I'm running over to the door and I'm thinking, what should I do?
You got to push it out.
You got to push it out. But my initial reaction was, I opened the door, which only made it worse.
See, the thing is that where we lived was in a basement and it goes down a ramp.
Of a hill.
So when you go into the apartment, you literally have to step down 2 steps. So the water's now accumulating in this like like the 2 steps. It's not even like this. I can't.
Your
explain
home
it.
is at the bottom of
It's
a pit,
lower than
essentially,
lower. And
which
so it
fills
turns out
with water.
It turns out we all grabbed a broom and we were pushing it. And
then
now,
in my head, I
what are we
picture that.
supposed to do? Because there's this little trap. It's like this big. It's a little trap,
That big.
square. And they covered it with a brand new carpeting. It must have been 2 days. And I'm like, get the Phillips screwdriver, get a knife. And we're pounding on this new carpeting. We're trying to figure out where it is, where the indent is, and we're breaking it.
I got Danette's father is standing there going, he's just sitting there laughing.
He's laughing.
They're like booms, because that was her father. Her father was the man who laughed at this stuff. And he was like, what is it? Why can't you just open? And then he goes, why can't you just open the trap door? It's because it's under the carpet. I'm like pounding on. I'm stabbing the floor. You ever see somebody like that, like crouched over the floor, stabbing it like I'm stabbing something?
I get the feeling, and I get what the sight could look like.
I'm ripping up the tile.
It was pandemonium.
Her mother is there. Her mother's hair is now going this way and that way.
All you see is the sweeping water through this little tiny square, sweeping and sweeping and sweeping for like an hour.
And I'm thinking to myself, when I think about that story now, all I can do is giggle. Because I think about it like, if there was a camera running, we must have looked like a bunch of maniac idiots. And meanwhile,
Mom a broom
meanwhile,
quick.
Our cat is our cat is like sitting on top of a box, like she's like waiting to float down a river because there's like water everywhere. I'm like, I wish I could get on a box.
So we had to get out of there. I couldn't take it no more.
My ankles are submerged. I get out of there. For the front, it went all the way so far into the apartment that the rug in our bedroom was soaked for 2 feet into the bedroom.
Thank you, Grumpy. Thank you. So you said
now this is a great live stream.
This is
Grumpy
what you get.
Says,
you come to our channel. It's going to be a lot of us talking at the same time. Anthony telling stories. Give Mom a broom.
Give Mom a broomstick. Give Mom a broom quick.
They didn't understand that we told them this, and they had to deal with it. They had to see it for themselves. They experienced it, right?
Yes, because her parents had never seen it. We told them the stories about how water would come under the door. So now they came
when it was a nice, fresh carpet, and it's never going to happen again. It just so happened to start thundering.
Danette's mother was so pleasant. She walked in and she said, "Oh my God, Danette, the carpet is so nice, the new carpeting. It looks so nice." And the whole time they're there, I'm just like looking around. I'm waiting. I'm saying to them, I hear there's going to be a thunderstorm. So that was their reaction. So I'm just like so worried. I'm sweating bullets. So that's my answer, Sapper.
Pamela
I just laugh.
Also, at a certain age, it takes a lot to panic you. Yeah,
that's right. At this age, we've already gone through so many different things that you feel like stuff doesn't panic you. And then you look at it and you go like, oh no, that was pretty funny.
Well, you know what it is? It's just humanity. Sometimes whatever fight and flight or whatever kicks in, and you have to, like when someone you love gets hurt, you just do what you got to do.
Yep.
Just
at a certain point,
you show up, right? You just show up, and that's it.
I'll tell you right now, Foxy. At a certain point in your life, so you're a young man. At a certain point in your life, something's going to happen. That's going to be dire. You're going to think it's dire. Yeah. And at some point, years later, you're going to sit there and go, that was actually pretty funny. I almost wish that could happen again.
No, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I'm at a point in my life now because a lot of your supporters don't know this, but I'm 24 in a couple of months. I'm 23 at the moment. So at a certain point in my life, inevitably and undeniably, truthfully, shocking things are going to happen.
They will. They will. When you're not looking, that's how it works. When you're not paying attention, that's how it happens.
Yeah, especially when there's a lack of attention being paid to it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so much fun. Your supporters are very nice people. By the way.
Yes, I love your
Again, I'm
chat.
going to say that one more time. I salute you, the guys. I salute the guys in your chat. I'm going to say that one more time. There's such nice people and funny. And funny, they have senses of humor, which you need.
Zappa particularly, he's got quite.
He has a particular sense of humor that
Pamela
I
says
can
she's-
get. You have a sense of humor I can get behind. I
Pamela
would say
says
that.
she's 61 going on 24. That's right.
That's right, Pamela. That's about me. Like I said, sometimes Danette is not sure I'm not 12 occasionally. like, can't you just grow up?
I'll go. Be serious now. This is serious.
This is serious.
Harriet wants to know what best restaurant in Little Italy, New York City, in your opinion. To be honest, I'll answer for me. I haven't been in that many of them, but we've been in a few, maybe 4 altogether, and I really like Umberto's for now.
I like Umberto's,
but I can't answer that honestly. I don't think that we've been in enough.
I've heard really great things about 2 places about Cafe Napoli and also about Casabella, which was the place that burned down, but then they rebuilt, which I've heard
Tommy
is very
the Nose
good.
Is there.
And that's where Tommy the Nose sings every night. That's where he came out during the Italian feast, the Feast of San Gennaro. Tommy the Nose came out at Umberto's and gave us a serenade because he just happened to be walking by. These guys are just walking around the neighborhood. Italian guys walking around the neighborhood who were ready to sing a song. And so he sang New York, New York. Tommy the Nose.
Foxy, have you ever been to New York?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever been to the United States?
I've never been to the United States, no. Okay. No, but my mother's been. She's been to New York.
Oh, she has?
Oh, she has? What's Mom's favorite memory of New York? Had she ever told you? What was the thing she enjoyed doing here most, if anything?
She went to see a Broadway show with Jeffrey Rush.
Yes,
she went to see Jeffrey Rush in a Broadway show when she went. It was a long time she went now. I think she went about 15, 16 years ago now. Something like that.
The title of the show? Because I kind of remember Jeffrey Rush being in a Broadway play. I don't remember what show it was. Do you remember off the top of your head? You'll have to ask your mom and say it on a live stream if you can't remember. Look, Danette's going to look it up. Danette's going to Google it.
I'm Googling it.
She's Googling it.
He played a king. It was about 16 years ago. I think he played a king. Don't know.
I think you might be right. I do remember him being in a Broadway show. I do remember that.
About 15 years ago, we were going to all the Broadway shows.
Oh, we used to always go. People have the idea that like New Yorkers never go to Broadway shows, like it's only a tourist thing. It isn't. New Yorkers go to Broadway shows.
Was it Exit the King?
Exit the King.
I can't remember the name. Don't know the name. All I know is that she saw him in a Broadway show where he just played a king. That's all I know. I don't know the name of the show.
Yeah, that's it. 2009. Exit the King.
Yes. Edward the what king? What king?
Exit the King.
Exit the King.
Exit the King. Okay. That's what it would have been. That's what it would have been that she saw, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 2009.
Like I was saying, my mother's even been to Florida, believe this or not, because she had an auntie who lived in Florida.
Oh, really?
An auntie who unfortunately died when my brother and I would have been very little.
Oh, that's
sorry to hear that.
No, it's just completely fine. I never knew Auntie Iris. I only heard stories about her. And one of my mother's best stories, I remember her telling me, interesting. It wasn't best interesting. She was in Florida. She said the house inside, because Florida's got a hell of a hot climate, bloody hot climate, baking hot, if you're asking me. She said the house was very cool. You step outside and it's like walking into an oven and it's just nothing but hot when you've stepped outside.
The humidity.
And the humidity in Florida. Oh my God. The
humidity is just like that. It's hard to breathe.
Oh yeah. But what Broadway shows in New York would you recommend now as of 2025 if I ask both of you?
Which
what show would we recommend? Is that what you're asking?
If it's going on now.
don't even know what's going on.
Say this shout in as of 2025 New York Broadway show. What would you recommend?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't been paying
we haven't
attention,
been paying close
so I
attention.
don't know.
We haven't been in a while. I know.
Hi, Jennifer.
There are a couple of. There's always the classics that are always playing, obviously, but like there are some new shows, I think. But
Yeah,
like
but I don't know.
I'm not the one to ask anymore. There was a time. I'm going to tell you. There was a time when I knew every damn play that was on Broadway. When I could have told you everything that was playing. It's so many years.
Yeah,
but we stopped paying attention.
We stopped paying attention. It's been It's been a while now. I would say so many years. When was the last time we went to Broadway?
10 years. I'd imagine 10, 15 years.
The last thing we saw
a year or two before pandemic.
What is that? The one like this with the hats and the dancing.
Oh, Fiddler on the Roof might have been the last one we went to.
Isn't that quite famous? Is that a famous one, Fiddler on the Roof?
Yes. It was a revival of Fiddler on the Roof. And that might be one of the last ones we saw.
Pamela said she saw The Lion King. That's still good.
I never saw it, but I know that's a great show.
Yeah, The Lion King.
Enough people. If there's certain shows, enough people say it's a great show in order for you to just say, okay, I agree. I didn't have to see it to know it. We saw Rent. We must have went to see Rent
we loved Rent
gazillions of times.
That was years ago.
Like people go like, well, how did you go to see a show so many times?
Wow,
three showers a day in the Philippines. It's kind of hot in the Philippines. I get that. I've heard tell from people.
Pamela says that she saw the Nutcracker at the Met. So did we, and we loved it. We saw it 1 year. But if you can go to the ballet as well. Yeah. Do you have ballet where you are?
Of course.
I know, but like where he lives.
I don't pay attention to ballet.
Oh, I know what I'm asking. I'm asking if you ever watch what's her name? Zoe and
that's like a silly question.
Ask them. They used to live there.
That's a silly question. Have you ever seen any of the YouTube videos of was it? Oh my God, Alfie Days and or his girlfriend Zoe? Because we used to watch them back in the day.
Do you know who Alfie Days is and Zoe?
The YouTubers.
I have heard of them. Yes, they're YouTubers.
They used to live in my neck of the woods.
Yes, that's why I wanted.
They were my neck of the woods at one point, but they're not now. But if there's any Broadway show going on now, which one would you hope to see if it appealed to your interest?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. I've heard a lot of good things about a show that's on Broadway right now, which is called Project Mincemeat. Everybody's talking about. I think it's a show that came from Great Britain, that started out in Great Britain. But I've heard that a lot of good things about that. That's currently on Broadway. That's what I would say. I would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are they not very good now, the Broadway shows nowadays?
We just haven't been going. We just haven't been going. Partially because of we just haven't gotten around to it. It's timing.
Yeah.
Just don't have enough.
The prices have gone up quite a bit.
They're crazy.
Oh yeah, no, that's another constraint.
I used to work in Manhattan. I used to always go and try to get the win lottery tickets, which actually had a surprisingly a lot of luck getting lottery tickets to Broadway shows.
We also paid for them too, but
we paid for them. But I used to get them.
Big Broadway people. We would go all the time, and I think maybe we went too much.
I was going through all the playbills one day recently.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, money constraints is obviously a real factor as to Broadway prevention, what have you.
That prices have gone up. I'm not going to lie.
We did concerts. We used to go to concerts all the time. And then we stopped doing that too. The prices are crazy.
Yes. It's a constraint, isn't it? It's a real constraint. Yeah. A crazy extortionate price. It's a constraint to go, isn't it? It's a real constraint.
Yes. Ticketmaster is in fact a monopoly.
Norman, Rent is my
personal opinion.
Favorite, Norman. That is
like the game. Yeah,
Which
yeah, like the
one?
game Monopoly. It's a very old, long-time game. Yes, an old, long-time game, the Monopoly, especially given how long it's gone around, and it involves money.
Yes.
Ticketmaster are the problem. Sarpa said
Yeah,
Ticketmaster
you're
are
right. It
Yeah,
is. You're absolutely
Ticketmaster are
right.
the problem. They are definitely a monopoly in the
And then if you-
world of tickets.
And then if something goes on sale and you're like the first one there, you're still going to get the back seat because they
Yes.
already purchased.
They've already purchased.
If you
They
even
purchase
get to
banks
get
of
through.
them so that they can
Get through.
resell them,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's not fair.
We used to pay
Oh, it's
$7 for
banned there?
contest or ticket.
Grumpy, where are you exactly? Are you in
He's in the
Italy?
United Arab Emirates, UAE. That's where he is.
Okay.
And
United
obviously,
Arab
not only is
Emirates.
money a constraint for Broadway, but also having the time. That's another real life constraint in reality. And also health can be another constraint if it prevents you going.
Right, you can't sit in the chair for 3 hours.
Yeah,
you know?
well, me, I couldn't sit still for
right
a
now.
while, that
Anthony
long.
has a meniscus tear that he's been dealing
Oh
with
no!
for the past 8 months, 6 to 8 months now.
Yes.
It's gotten much better than it was, so he can't sit
Ah,
in like a car that long, or in a restricted seat or things like that.
and also CAC. Is it Carol or CAC? Carol, I believe it is.
C-A-K is Carol.
Carol.
Mhm.
That's
Another
Carol.
problem,
Double
Carol.
L, double R, double L. Double R, double L,
Another
Carol.
problem with
Yeah, that's another point. That's another
yeah,
point.
that's true. People are smoking things and
Oh shit! No,
drinking too
sorry
much,
for the language.
constantly drinking.
So that's
Danette,
not
what really bothers Danette is people that drink a lot, and not that they're drunk, but they drink a lot and get up and walk in front of you. They always have to go to the bathroom. She always.
I'm like,
oh
why are you
yeah,
going to a
They
concert
drank so much they have to go to
and
the
you're
bathroom
not
every 5
watching?
minutes.
They have to go for a piss or shit, don't they? Excuse
Oh
the
my
language. It's because I know you're generally language free in your content, even though you've got laid back humor. It's generally swearing free, but
Yeah.
some of us here are very disgracefully unfiltered with
Oh,
unfiltered.
really? I didn't know that. I've never heard you before.
Well, Sarpa has got very great unfiltered humor. He's got brilliant unfiltered humor.
Well, we like humor no
That's
matter
all
how
right.
it comes.
It can be occasionally unfiltered.
Oh,
Let's
Pamela
see,
did go to Vegas to see George Strait recently. Great show. Oh, fantastic, Pamela.
Nice, Pamela.
Hope the show was brilliant. I haven't been to the theatre for about 10 years now, so I haven't been for a very long time.
Mm.
No, I mean, we've got a Brighton theatre, but I just don't know what to see. It's not only is it by and large highly selective, but you just need to know what the good reviews are like and whether it's worth seeing. That's
You can
another.
always look at the reviews, yeah. And
Yeah, look at the reviews, because that can sometimes be a constraint to some people, what the reviews are like. Independence and the cynicism. I'm not saying this badly, but cynicism can be a constraint if reviews are bad.
Right, that's right.
Yes.
You don't want to do that. Actually,
No.
Lori's right. She says if you get a seat that's like a blocked view, you can get it for half price. That's right, actually. That's good advice.
Apart
Lori.
from you, it depends on your height, because obviously if a taller person sat in front of you, you can't see the show.
Well, that's another thing. The theater is also important. If you have a theater with the seats like that, then you wouldn't have so much of, certain theaters are better than other theaters. And
every place is a little bit.
It's weird in New York because
It's
some
different.
theaters have I feel that some of the theaters have like a reputation, and almost everything that goes in that theater is a great show. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of theaters in Manhattan that take up a lot of streets, even off Broadway. And some of the theaters have a reputation of, a great show is going to play there. So that's something that we would look at too when we're deciding.
Yeah. And also with me being not a very tall man, and also, small by and large, because I'm 5'8", 153 pounds, either 153, 154 pounds, something like that. But I could never imagine being under. Independent, because we've got so many taller people nowadays, certainly taller people my age. Imagine me sat in a seat and there's another seat and a tall person sits in front of me. I won't be able to see the show.
Keep the head in
And
the
you can't do anything about that, unfortunately.
No, I know.
No,
I know. I'm not saying it as if you can have control over it, because you have
I know.
no control over it.
Right.
That's something you have completely no control over.
Correct.
Oh, wait, right. Pamela said block view is often a full column in the front of the seat. Yeah, yeah.
We
But
had
that again, you have no control over it. You've got completely no control over that.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, I'm sure. Have you noticed? Because I know you two are not all that tall yourself. Have you ever sat in a seat and there are tall couples in front, and you've not been able to sit through?
And concerts where everybody's sitting down except for that one girl that stands up,
that stands up in front of you,
and they're drinking and drinking and drinking, and then they go away.
And they're standing in front of you,
and they go away because you're thinking, "Oh, good, they left," but they only went to go to the bathroom and get a fresh beer and come back.
Come back.
There's no
they see hardly any of the show. There's no way you can control that.
Especially if you're drinking.
Yeah, there was a girl that was like that. It was annoying. Oh, Smashing Pumpkins at Jones Beach.
Oh no, Pamela, your hearing can't take concerts anymore. Your ears ring for. Oh my bloody god,
you can't go close. You have to go farther away.
You gotta stay
far
from the stage.
That happened to me.
Oh, Danette lost hearing at a
Was it Los Lobos?
At a Los Lobos concert, essentially.
My
hearing was never the same.
The speakers,
but we were like, no, because we were standing against this. It was standing room. We were against the stage, so we were leaning at chest level against the stage, and Danette's head was essentially pressed against the speaker.
And there was also on the bottom too. It was all around me.
It was all around. They had surround sound around Danette. My hearing bounced back. Danette's didn't bounce back for about a year.
I don't think
it never got the same.
Oh.
It was a great show. You know, everybody that goes to a concert and when they say that their ears are ringing, they always follow it up with, but it was a great show anyway.
Oh, Pamela says that she saw Los Lobos in San Antonio. Nice.
That's a great spot to see them, actually. We saw them a long time, and it was a full... By the way, the show was a full electric show, in case you're wondering. So it was really loud. It was not the acoustic Los Lobos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is annoying, Carol. You're absolutely right.
No, that is bloody annoying. That is bloody annoying. Yeah. Yeah, that's bloody annoying. And a good point that Carol stated, yeah. And what was I going to share? Another question. I mean, obviously I shared the question. Okay, it might sound a bit large, this question, and a mere bit personal, but retirement, what are you hoping for the retirement life for Danette and Anthony? What's your intention for retirement life?
Oh, well, I can answer that right now.
Danette can answer that.
I have no idea.
Sorry if it was a bit large and a bit personal.
No, it's okay. But that's the true answer. I have no idea. Have I thought about it? Yes, and
Absolutely.
then I stopped thinking about it because I don't have any idea.
Thinking about it, and then she stops.
I mean, I have said that if I stopped working and I had the time, I would do more YouTube because I find it fun. So to me, being a content
I would say
creator,
short answer, maybe more YouTube.
Yeah, a content creator is like part of our fun things we do. We do other things that are not live, but you know, when we're not just the two of us, we're doing this. And that's what answering the other question about what's the biggest challenge is the same answer, not enough time. So if I stopped working, I would spend more time doing this and maybe even spending more time on thinking about it and more details and stuff like that, you know, just to have fun though, not to get like crazy. I really say the answer is I don't know because you know, some people, they'll plan out 10 years from wherever they are now. I just can't do that. I can't do it. I don't know how to do that. It's not my way, my makeup. That's a good thing and a bad thing, you know? It's a good thing to be spontaneous and to live your life to the fullest.
Completely.
You have to plan something, right? I'm not good at that. Yeah. I'm just not good at that.
We're not those guys.
Unfortunately
for us, we're not those guys.
What about you? You agree with that? What I
I
said?
kind of
or-
agree with that. I was surprised. You see, you gave the
expected
right
me to
answer.
say
I
something?
expected a real answer, Foxy. I was waiting with bated breath to hear what she was going to
'Cause
say.
that's the
Was
truth.
the plan, and then she said she has no idea. So it
No
just
idea.
all worked. That's why it hit. I was like, come on, what is it? What's she going to say? Nothing. I have no idea. Oh, that's great. But what she said on the YouTube front, yeah, probably maybe more YouTube. I would think maybe there's a chance I might like split the channel, maybe an Anthony centric channel.
Well, you would do an
different one.
additional
I was
channel. You
thinking
wouldn't
of doing
stop
an
doing this
additional channel anyway,
Yeah.
which would be
Retirement.
not no Danette and Anthony, but an Anthony only channel. I've
Carol
thought about
says
that in the past.
retirement was a huge adjustment for me. I like it.
I can
now.
imagine. No, I can imagine how huge adjustment it is. I can only imagine. I can only imagine
Yes.
just how big the adjustment is. Yes, certainly.
Yeah, I remember once being laid off because the company had to lay off a lot of people. This was years
Because
ago.
they couldn't afford to have you
Right.
on.
So they laid us off, and I'll never forget. It was right before Christmas. I was so depressed and bummed. I was like, now what are we going to do? And that's how I feel like it, like if that's what I remember feeling like when you asked me about retirement. Like, so the next day you get up and you don't have to go anywhere. And now what do I do? It's like learning or starting over in a different way. It kind of frightens me because, you're doing this for so long. I'm sure Carol could say that too. She's been working for so long, her whole life. And, in her case, helping others also. And then all of a sudden it just stops, I don't know.
Of course, that time that happened, Danette spent a lot of time saying goodbye to me because I was still working. And
then
by
he
the
went
way,
to work.
her parents had plenty of things for her to do since she was home every day.
It was Christmas time. And again, if you're Italian, you have to plan. What are you making? What's the food? What are we doing? Meanwhile, I had no money now because I had no job. Thank God Anthony was working. But
thank goodness for that. Oh yes,
Yeah.
and thank goodness you didn't separate or anything. Thank God. And Paula said, "Well said on your statement." Thank you, Paula. Thank you for your support towards Danette.
Paula.
Thank you very much, Paula.
Yes. Also, Pamela's got a statement regarding retirement. Retired just means no longer being paid, but we can stay busy and productive.
Absolutely.
That's right.
There's no reason you can't.
Carol here says, Carol, is this a male or female, Carol? I don't know.
It's
female.
a female.
Oh, it's a female Carol. Okay,
Yes.
because Carol, the way it's spelled 2 R's and 2 L's, it's generally used on men. It's generally used on men, like Carol O'Connor, the actor. It's generally used on men.
It's both ways here.
Yeah,
actually.
I think it's both ways.
But yeah, it's good to ask. So now you can picture it.
Yeah.
See it. Carol threw in a female.
With Carol, with it spelled with 2 R's and 2 L's, I've only seen that with the actor Carol O'Connor. I've only seen that with him.
Okay.
Carol's my first other Carol.
I worked at my job for 47 years. You see what I'm saying here? That's a long
47
time.
years.
Neonatal nursing that
while.
whole time. And that is an amazing.
That's not a minute or two.
That's not a job. That's like
that's an
commitment.
adventure.
Yeah, that's a commitment. Think about all the kids the children, and
There you go. Carol says it's an ancestral family name with the double R, double L.
See, that makes it really unique for her. I like it.
Okay, and Sap had something to say. You don't get many male neonatal nurses. Sounds like that's something sexist.
We still don't, yeah.
I think you're right about that. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Actually, let's ask Carol. Do you remember any male nurses in your
department?
That's
what. Actually, Carol's the one
to answer that
one.
That's not funny.
We're waiting, Carol.
Honey, I gave my son a last name as a first name as well. Bloody hell.
Nice.
And Carol in Carol's End is an ancestral family name. No, it's true. Only true.
Yeah.
But the real question I'm going to ask, another question here. Obviously, that was a bit too complicated, the last question I asked. I am extremely sorry.
Okay.
But what was I going to say? I nearly forgot to ask, but I'd say, but actually, it's just come to me now. What do you think have been the best adventures abroad or state-wise, domestically, you two have undertaken?
Wow, that's a good question.
But sorry if it was complicated.
I'll let you take it.
Can you repeat it?
Repeat that for me.
What do you think of the best?
Yeah.
What are the best adventures you two have undertaken, whether it was domestically done or done abroad?
Never abroad together.
Oh, you've never been abroad?
No, we haven't.
Oh,
Not
wow.
together.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Shadow.
Hey, Shadow.
Okay, so like vacation, really.
I would say, yeah. What did you like? For me, you know what was memorable to me was the very first time we ever went on a vacation together.
Yeah,
it was just over the top.
Too.
We were young.
We went to New Hampshire.
We were silly. We were like the first time alone. Really, like nobody knew us. It was just
it's
me
so
and
weird because
and it was so special. And we went all over we went to New Hampshire. Then we said, I don't know, how about we go to Vermont? How about we go into the Adirondacks? How about we go? We just like visited. I don't think we went to Maine. We didn't get to Maine.
So we went on the East Coast.
Yeah, on the East Coast. On the East Coast.
We went to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
We went to the Baseball Hall of Fame. We wound up in Pennsylvania at one point. It was just such a long trip.
And it was our first trip. And for me, it was places I had already been to, a lot of them, not all of them.
But I hadn't.
But I wanted to show him places that I had gone to as a child. And New Hampshire is close to my heart because we used to go as kids. And we used to go up the mountain, and it's just so beautiful in the White Mountains. And going with Anthony was like, now I'm sharing my life with him. And it's so weird is that after that was when we were young. That was like way back in the early 90s. And then just like 3 years ago on our channel, we did the same thing. It was like the two of us were showing people where I was going as a kid and when we went together, right? Like going to the fun spot and going to the ice cream parlor. So it's really weird. I was showing you where I grew up. Then the two of us are showing the channel where we would go and just sharing that. Yeah.
Yes.
I like I personally, when I was a kid, went to Canada, the other side of the Niagara Falls. And I just thought it was so beautiful there. It's just so beautiful at Niagara Falls on the other side, on the Canada side. The United States is wonderful. We went there not that long ago, about 4 or 5 years ago recently. That's to us recently, maybe 4 years ago, but not as nice as the Canada side. And we have not gotten our passports or whatever upgraded.
Yeah. So we got to do that. Carol, by the way, said there were some male
and they were great, she said.
Neonatal nurses.
See, she would know more better than
there you
us.
go, Grumpy. There was some that Carol remembers working with, and they were good nurses.
Pamela said her parents were born on the Canadian side of the falls. Wow.
Yes, actually, I know this about Pamela's parents. I do know that. But very interesting story you had to share about adventures away together to New Hampshire. Wow. That must have been a fun holiday destination for you both. And hearing all you had to say.
Because it was amazing story. What made it special was the first time together.
You, Foxy. Thank you.
It's an amazing story, I must say. And just to let the two of you know, we've been on over 2 hours, but no trouble at all. I will ask you one more question, to both of you. And then we're going to have to say our goodbyes and finish, because podcasts, we normally do 60, 90 minutes. But 2 hours as it's been tremendously fun. And with the laid back...
we agree.
With the laid back, the thing that's been most fun, if I may say, the most fun with you two, is your laid back humor and really just letting it out there. That's the best thing to do, let it out there. But the last question for you both before we finish in about the next 5 minutes or so. What advice would you give to your younger selves from your current selves now? Oh, hello.
This is Munchkin. She just woke up.
Hello, Puss Puss.
Hi, Munchie. Look.
Hello. I'll
Sorry,
tell my
she was-
kids that they said
She was
hello.
walking by.
She had to get into the swing of things.
Sorry to interrupt. I just had to show
What
her.
advice would we give our younger selves?
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a question.
loaded question.
Hmm.
I know the answer. I don't
What
even
would
have
you
to
say?
think
You
about it.
say you say yours. Go.
All right. So when I say this, and I have no time to like say it perfectly, so I'm gonna do the best I can. This is really true, and it's kind of like me really letting it out now. How do I say this? It's me. It's raw,
Go ahead.
right? I'm gonna
That's that's my phone.
I'm going to be like honest right now because I can't help it. That's the way I am. And
Go
maybe
ahead, open up.
yeah. So for me, I am an extremely sensitive person. I don't know if anybody who ever watched us knows that. I am extremely sensitive and I worry about people constantly. I'm always worrying, not in a bad way, but concerned, empathetic. I'm always worrying about people around me, my family, things that have to do with the animals, my pets, and that has caused me to not be more adventurous, I would say. It would hold me back. So I would say to my younger self to stop that. Not being sensitive, I don't mean that. I mean the worrying. Stop worrying. Stop. And so it's so ironic that you should ask that question because a lot of times on the end of the live stream, especially when I'm alone, I will say to people, don't worry. If someone said something to you, let it go. Because that's also me wishing that I did that when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like I am giving advice now of something that I wish somebody gave that advice to me. You understand what I mean? Like that.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, that's me knowing now as an older person of myself that it's wasted time, it's wasted energy, and you just have to look at it in a different way. A lot of people think that, oh my God, this is this way, this is that way. But you have to remember that people are different and people think differently. They might not think the way you do.
Oh, no, you never expect that.
And you forget that sometimes. You think that everybody's going to think the same way you do, but they don't.
When they don't.
Right. And so why
that.
are you wasting time worrying about it? You don't even know what the other person's going through. They could be going through something and they didn't mean anything by it, or it's a misunderstanding or whatever it is, right? So I wish I could tell my younger self to stop worrying so much, stop being so sensitive and serious. And I think that's happening because now I laugh a lot more and I actually take my own advice. So there you go.
No, that's good.
Agree with that?
Yes.
No, that's very well said. But Anthony, have you got anything to say?
Yes.
What advice would you give your younger
I would
self?
say for myself, I would say, like, looking back at it, I would say, I wish I could tell myself to not procrastinate so much, to take so long to like make decisions about things or to decide to do things. I've never was the jump right into it guy. If anything, I'm more like that now.
Yeah.
But it took me to be like an old geezer to become more like that now. But like I was always a procrastinator, was I not?
Yeah.
I still do it sometimes. But it's not as bad as it used to be.
You did it yesterday and you don't even know it.
I did?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Well, we were looking at furniture, like, we're not going to get this now. I'm like, why not? When we had to move when we had to move from the Bronx to Queens, Anthony was very worried about it. He's like, oh my God, we're going to move to Queens.
I have to think about it
Anthony,
more.
it's 10 minutes away. You're just going over a bridge. What do you think's going to happen? I was like, snap out of it. It's just another borough. It's where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And I think the reason for that,
I actually even said there won't be any restaurants to eat in.
Yeah, and now he loves Queens.
I was just trying to make excuses.
I'm so glad we moved from the Bronx to Queens. Queens has so much more stuff, and I could do this and that. I think the reason you felt that way was because you grew up without a car. And, you get used to where the subway is and where the buses are. You live. I took buses also when I was going to school. I mean, I didn't always have a car. It took me an hour and a half to get to school, to get to college. So, I think that's what it was. Once he got settled and realized how silly it was, he couldn't look back, Sometimes people have to be pushed in the right direction to help them,
Good one, Jason. I'm the same way. I used to be interested, but now I'm not so sure.
Oh, I like Pamela's answer.
Yes, Pamela, you shared a good point.
Yes. You want to read it?
Yes. My advice to my younger self would be, in general, be more selective, especially about who you let into your life. Pamela,
hi, Virginia. Virginia's back.
Good. That sounds like some fine advice, actually.
Oh, Carol has a question for you, Foxy.
Carol has.
No, I've seen it. I've never been to Oxford or Cambridge now, but people have often asked me about my voice. I've had this fairly often. A lot of new friends of mine, if they hear me talk to them, they're like, which school did you go to? Where are you educated? That sort of thing. I get this often, but no, I didn't go there. But good question. To be honest with you, this is not a new question I've had. I've had this outside of online communities, so it's not the first time I've encountered that.
Well, Carol has mentioned England several times. She loves it there, right?
She's an Anglophile.
Yeah, she loves going there and to the people. And
she's mentioned trips there. She's been to.
See, the fact that I know that is Carol shared something about herself. You see, and even though we never met Carol, we feel like we know her. No,
and I'm feeling similar way with your following too. When I first joined, I can't begin to say how welcome I felt. I felt very well welcomed, especially with everyone on board and how we conversed, chatted, what have you. And another thing, Carol, if you're still here, another question I often get asked by new people is not only Oxford or Cambridge if I've gone there. A lot of people always question my age, or some people question how old I am. I tell them, because can I tell you the story, you two?
Sure.
This is going back just over 2.5 months ago. I was out in Hastings. Nice little place, but it could do with some improvement with boarded up, shuttered businesses and stuff and battered buildings. It has got a few battered buildings that need serious work done, but otherwise there are good things to see, like the miniature railway, the seafront, the funicular railways, cliff tops that takes you up to the cliff and down, and a nice bus service. It was at a bus station. I was waiting for a train, but I had a while to wait for the train. An 83-year-old man came up to me. You never would have thought he was 83. Could have passed for being about maybe 75, something like that. So he looked pretty good. He was quite well. We began to chat at the bus station. He looked at me and said, "How old are you?" And I said, "How old am I? I'll be 24 in June this year, but I'm 23 at the moment." He said, "I thought you were in your 40s. He said, "I'm going to be 84 this year." I was like, "Really? You're 84? Well, when are you 84? He said, "I'm 84 this May." I said, "You're 84? I said, "You don't look it." I said, "If you told me you were 75, I'd believe that." And he said, "If you were in your 40s, I said, "I would have thought you're in your 40s. An 83-year-old guy saying to a 23-year-old man, thinking I was over 40.
That's some story there.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, there's one you don't usually hear. You never really hear people tell you overshoot your age that often. That's what you don't get. They overshot it.
I've heard many people undershot Danette's age because, like you said, Anthony, Danette was dewy-eyed up until her 30s.
She was like that. It's like I said. Actually, I was saying to Steve, we had Steve Gonzalez with us on Sunday at the parade, and we were walking. And I said, "Well, you look young.
Thank you.
You look younger than you are.
He's
in his 30s." And I said, "You look younger than you are." And I told him, "Listen," and he said, "Well, thanks." And I said, "Well, I always go by what I always say, and I've said it for years. When people would tell me, 'Anthony, you look younger than you are,' I would always say, 'Well, I'll take it because it's better than the alternative. It's better than going, 'Anthony, you look horrible.'"
Well, you look fairly good. You may not look amazing, but I do think you look good for your age.
At least you didn't say, "Anthony, you don't look a day over 100.
No. One thing I would say is you don't look a day over. I'd say you look no younger than No younger than 55. That's what I'd say. I'd say you look about 55, 56, Anthony, something like that. And
All about
Danette,
attitude.
It's
and
not just
Danette
about
Anthony looks about 50,
It's
51.
about attitude.
We talked about
yes.
this before, that it's how you feel inside and how
Oh,
you
yes,
act.
how you feel inside
Yes.
is
But
mainly.
there are some people that just like that I've gone to school with, that I've seen, that just look 10 years older than me. It's just weird.
That's tough.
Everybody's
That's tough.
different.
Whenever I
Oh, Virginia's saying something.
you sound so mature and intelligent,
I
so
agree.
I can see that he thought of you as older,
Yeah.
says HC.
You're very distinguished, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, you put
You
forth
are.
a distinguished
Yes.
vibe.
And some have said,
And I
some
mean
of
that in a nice way.
Yeah.
thank you. Some even, what was I going to say? Some have even considered overshot my age or thinking overshooting my age, not only because of how I sound, but some have said because of what I look like. Some have said it had something to do with the head of hair that I've got. Don't know why, but interesting.
Now that's an interesting comment.
Have you
that they
always
said,
lived in Brighton, or are you from
I've
another
grown up in the Brighton Hove region most of my life.
Oh, nice.
But I wasn't born in Brighton. I was born in Eastbourne. It's another place in the Sussex counties in England, East Sussex, which is where Hastings is, East Sussex.
We've seen pictures of Brighton. It really looks like a cool town. It looks so nice.
Oh, it's marvelous.
And
It's absolutely marvelous, Brighton.
beautiful.
They've got a pier there too. They've got a pier.
Yeah, I've seen
The
the
pier, the
pier.
Brighton
It's
pier.
gorgeous.
The piers.
It's so cool that you live there.
And they've got an electric railway, the Volks Electric Railway, which celebrated 140 years 2 years ago. It's been running for over 140 years, so it's a very old and the first electric railway we've got in the country.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm
That is
sorry if we
interesting.
talk too much. Anthony and I don't know how to stop talking.
We
Oh,
do
no,
run on a bit.
brilliant.
We do run on it.
Right, Virginia? Very distinguished. I would say that.
I agree with you, Virginia.
Yes, no trouble. It's been brilliant having you talking. And you're
Thank
obviously
you very much.
one thing I would say, and the thing that I very much respect and like about both of you is you're never afraid to just let it out there and open up about yourselves. You're never afraid of that, and that I really value that in a person.
Oh, wow.
Additionally, it explains a lot about people. It explains a lot about the depth of character of many people, I would say. And I say that in a good way. There's certainly nothing, I have nothing against that.
No, we understand, and we agree with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I take that as a compliment.
Oh, pleasure. It's also, well, personality explains a lot about a person. And when you're greeting somebody, like a strong handshake or a nice hug, that explains a lot about many people too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
A bit like the quote, have you heard the quote in Night at the Museum? Nice firm handshake, I like that. It explains a lot about a person or a lot about a man.
Yes.
It was at the greeting scene when the main character, played by Ben Stiller, was going to be the new night guard. And there are these former night guards, played by the incomparable Dick Van Dyke, the late Bill Cobbs, and the late Mickey Rooney. But the greeting part was Ben Stiller and Dick Van Dyke when he said, nice firm handshake, I like that. It explains a lot about a man.
Can I tell you that when I went to St. Benedict's, I was a little kid, and I had a sister, Paula. I was in the 7th grade. And
It was a Catholic school.
Catholic school. She was the, what did I just say?
You were in Catholic school, and
no,
Sister
she's
Paula
sister,
was
that's right. She was a sister.
It was one of the nuns who was a teacher.
She told us as a kid, she told every one of us in the classroom to watch a person's handshake. And if it's firm, and then she went around the class to every one of us and shook our hands and showed us what that meant. That if it was a firm handshake, then that was someone that was going to be sincere. And if it was like this, just give me your hand, like this, then the person wasn't sincere. Like that's an indicator when you first meet someone. Never forgot that. I never forgot that. When all these years, I told that to Anthony when we first met. Do you remember?
She actually did tell me that story.
And every time like somebody shakes my hand or whatever, I'll tell Anthony that was firm or whatever, you know? That's weird that a nun would tell like us, you know?
Yeah, that was Danette's advice from a nun.
Oh, so do I, Carol. I like his accent too. My ears feel caressed by Foxy. I
It's an
love
interesting
British
way to put it.
I just love
Wow.
British accents myself. Every one of them. I love when we watch British shows. I love when they talk back and forth, the girls, the guys. I just love it. Yeah, exactly, Gertrude. Handshakes make an impression. I mean,
Mhm.
you really shouldn't be judged, but
it kind of like helps.
yeah.
I remember one of my friends, well, it's a friend of my mother's friend's husband, tried to shake my hand when I was covered in kitty litter, and we were looking directly in the eye.
Oh,
I said, Mike, I can't touch you right now. My hand's very mucky. I have to wash my hands. But then I did it after. But yes, makes an impression. And every time I shake Mike's hand, for example, my mother's friend's husband, well, her best friend's husband, every time, if you shake his hand, you can tell the real impression he has on you.
yeah.
Some
people are very strong. It's like, ow.
Actually, can I tell you something? Well, he's a huge, large man, and if
Mhm.
you shake his hand, you'd think he'd shake your hand off. Because those are my hands, two hands together. Those are small hands.
Yeah.
His hand is about probably the size of one and a half of my hands. He's got huge hands.
So you know what he's telling you? He's telling you it's good to be here. It's good to meet you. It's good to see you.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
That's nice.
Even if his handshake is so strong to the point where it could shake it off nearly,
Right.
those huge hands, he has that great impression when you do it with him. Or anybody really, not just him, or any man or any lady you meet, it goes to show, it makes an impression to echo Gertrude's sentiment.
Exactly.
It's like one of the great very subtle scenes in a great movie is in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, where Mr. Potter is trying to convince George Bailey to come to work for him. And he tells him all this wonderful things about how good his life is going to be. And the last moment before George leaves the office is when he reaches out to shake Mr. Potter's hand. And when he takes his hand away from Potter's, he looks at his hand and he goes like this and wipes it on his shirt. And then he realizes, oh, you were just taking me in, weren't you?
Yeah, he was nervous
because
Mr.
Potter's hand was sweaty and clammy and weak. And he was just, so why was he nervous? Why was the rich man nervous? You know why? Because he wanted to hook you. And that's a great subtle scene involving a handshake in a classic film where Jimmy Stewart looks at his hand and goes like that and wipes it on himself.
Oh, bloody hell, that's
disgusting. I don't know why I listened to you.
That's disgusting what he did.
You almost got me. Basically says, you almost got me. You had me fooled. And then, there it was. There was the reason. He wasn't sincere. He was just trying to fool you into thinking he was sincere.
Oh, wow. It certainly does.
Through in the hand.
Foxy, thank you so much for having us on your show. Your chat
But one thing I will say, before we finish, I mean, obviously we got to the last question and said the last thing. Can I tell you both, it has been my pleasure, most sincerely, having both of you on and having some of your supporters, one of your fellow mods on board and my own supporting mods. Pamela, Harriet, Sapper, he had to go because he's gone to bed.
Okay.
Thank you for being on the live stream and thank you for moderating and everyone, including Danette and Anthony, supporting, following from their community. Thank you for being a part of this podcast. Long as it's been a good and a fun one. Nothing, absolutely nothing can beat the openness and friendly depths of Danette and Anthony's character or their funny laid-back humor. So you two, thank you very much for being a part of the podcast and thank you for generously taking the time and doing this. We've been talking about it for almost a year, but look, we made it happen.
Look, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us.
You have an amazing channel, and thank you so much for having us. Yes.
It's certainly a pleasure. And I certainly look forward whenever I can make a live stream of yours. I haven't been able to make the Easter ones because I've had to specialize in my own Easter ones. I'll try and make whatever live I can, whether it's membership or publicly represented, because I always enjoy live streams of New York and seeing what it's like, the vibrancy and the diversity it retains. So thank you, both of you. Thank you for being you. And
thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for saying all the wonderful things you said. Thank you for sharing our channel. And I want to
ever
wish
so
you a
much.
good night. Is it late
Wish you a
there,
good
right?
night. I know it's getting kind of late there, but
Yeah.
it was really wonderful. Thank you so much for having us, Foxy. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, you too.
And it was fun.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys again soon, all of you, including you, Foxy.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to it. And you two are podcast worthy. I'm just surprised no other YouTuber, big or small, has ever invited you on a podcast. Well, hopefully this one, it'll make some people scratch their heads and think, these two are worthy of being interviewed.
Thank you so much. We
appreciate
do appreciate that wonderfully. We appreciate those kind words. All right, so I'm leaving it up to you. Do you think this is about it?
Yes, I think that's about it. But you two can feel free to jump off. It's certainly no trouble.
All right.
Thank you
All right,
so much.
guys.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody. Good night.
Take care.
Thank you to Foxy.
Bye, Foxy.
Thank you to all your mods, wonderful people, and we really appreciate it.
We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Goodbye, you two. Goodbye. Honestly, this has been fantastic. Fantastic in every way. So thank you. Thank you, Danette and Anthony supporters, HC Teacher and Carol and Norman, Gertrude, Pamela, Harriet. Thank you for supporting the podcast, and I shall certainly see you in the next live stream. Next podcast will be with Project Metal Music in May of 2025. Thank you sincerely, kindly for watching. Here's to the next podcast for May 2025, but next live stream will be later this month. A pleasure to have Danette and Anthony, and special thanks to them both.